through your phone. Hey, or not phone, but I feel like we're moving to the future where like we're gonna communicate with audio devices. Like everybody will have like implants in their ear.
Get our bump music. Is it the gator growl? We want to come out swinging. There it is, classic. Just like the old days. That was like our first show.
Back when 97.90 Cat was a lot smaller.
Holy smokes, folks. Now, if you want to tweet it out, for those of y'all new to the show, I'm Anthony Turnstile. This is my ace, Dutch Chattahoochee, on my left. If you're not familiar with us, the first 5 minutes of this show is entirely sound troubleshooting because it's probably effed
and
up.
Like always, it's lagging on the YouTube.
There might be podcasts that have people that actually know about that, but we do not. And I guarantee you can take the same settings on a different day. It'll be different. It'll be jacked up.
Like we've said, we literally come in here, record this, turn it off, don't change nothing, turn it back on, and it's yeah.
OBS is not blown out, so that's good.
You don't want it. Yeah.
I'm a little bit under the weather. I don't know how you can see any sound levels. I should probably start Audition. We're going to put it on Spotify. Nobody's listening there. And bam. I see sound signature in Audition, so.
You know what's going to happen?
We're off and running, buddy.
One day we're going to get bigger, and someone's like, oh, I would love to listen to Spotify. Oh, now you want to listen. Okay.
By bigger, you mean 2 listeners?
No, 100.
So that's when YouTube sends you that big platinum 100 button.
Like I keep saying.
Shout out to Philly Flyboy. Some gentleman by the name of Philly Flyboy, filmmaker out there, followed us. And not to disrespect, I like followers if you are a nobody, but that definitely helps push. That helps move the needle, maybe. Somebody like that, some big social media guy, Philly Flyboy's got all his 33,000 followers or whatever it is, gonna follow us. That's what I'm talking about. Little roadmap for today. Obviously, we are going to be talking World Series. I will include in my World Series banter how much disdain I have for Major League Baseball and Major League Baseball Rules Committee. I guess I'll just fade out on that because that doesn't stop. I got a lot of thoughts on Philly. I know tons of dudes from Philly. Marine Corps has deep connections in Philadelphia. It was started at Ton Tavern. All kinds of good stuff about Philly. Philly's fans are famous or infamous, depending on who you are. I've had periods in my life I've gone back and forth with loving the Phillies and then just and again, I'm a Cowboys fan, so all the Philly people are like, oh, we hate you because like the Eagles, the whole East, NFC East, man, hates each other. But I'm not like that. I'm the ultimate like impartial arbiter, really, because I've checked out on MLB. I'm looking at Japan and NPB leagues. And I don't really have a dog in the fight. I mean, I got love for Houston, too. I'll talk about that, too. But I have a prediction that I'm going to tease. It's not going to be what you're going to think. But I also have theories for why that might happen, and it has to do with the baseball gods. And then if we can, we got our little thing. We got to get Jimmy on the horn.
Oh, shit.
Right? What do you got, bud? Where are you going with it?
Well, obviously, I'm talking World Series with you, and then I also, I don't know, I was looking at like old-timey baseball names, and old-timey baseball names had the coolest nicknames ever.
They're awesome.
Like, and it was like, I can't get the article to load, but it was like, why nicknames suck now.
They kind of suck.
Like you get like cool ones every now and then, but nowadays, yeah, it's just they usually use their initials or something.
I'm trying to think of any nicknames we got going. I don't know if Coco Crisp was his actual. I think it was his actual name.
His name was like Coco Belly, I think, or something. Yeah, Coco Belly, I think it was his real name.
Coco Crisp is pretty sweet.
I remember him for I think the A's. But Indians, I think.
Is your wife in the position where she can like?
She's at class right now.
I don't know. Can you listen to the stream? Do we sound awful? I got to mute.
I can listen. Let me mute my mic. I'm mic 1, right? I can never remember which mic I am.
Take the. Oh. There we go. There it is. Dutch is going to do a little bit of work. I'm going to take this and just. All right, we do sound okay. If that's what we sound like, that's not horrible.
All right, that sounds good. It doesn't sound blown out or anything.
Doesn't sound blown out.
I like how we just talk about like other stuff while we're talking about live stuff. We're just like in the middle of a live.
You got to do work, man. It's hard. It's hard. All right. Well, I think we're rolling, and I think sound isn't entirely terrible.
And when we get like super famous, we'll have our producers in the back whispering in our ear, "Hey."
I don't think we're ever going to get super famous, but I'm kind of more of. Like underground. I think underground.
Yeah.
Be the preeminent underground, the underbelly, the dirty underbelly, the dark side of baseball, and because like once you go commercial, and then
you gotta start following rules, and
then we sell out, and then it's like.
As much people like being famous, I don't want to be famous. Like, I
don't know, man. I just want to stay true to the game. True to baseball, true to my feelings on baseball, and because I feel like if I get too corporate, then I won't be able to shit. That's my one cuss word, because I give myself to a show on MLB and MLB Rules Committee, and I want to be able to just wish that those people catch the clap, like Jimmy Dugan. And if I sound bad, it's because I'm sick, but I'm getting better.
I can't be famous because I got a mouth. And that would get me so much trouble.
Trailer Park Boys made it to the top, didn't change their game. That's what we're really going for.
But a lot of Trailer Park Boys do their own thing, though. They're famous, but I think, they're obvious. I don't know if they produce.
It's like Sinatra. They did it their way.
Because, we could be famous, and I could run my mouth if we were able to, produce our own shit and, put it out on our own instead of using, a company.
That's what it is, man. You just grind it out. YouTube's.
Well,
get your gear.
That's like what's his name?
TV channel for everybody.
What is his name? Pat McAfee. He's got a really popular show on Barstool and stuff, and he still cusses and stuff because they allow him to.
All right.
I know they got a huge check their show did, but because I would feel like if I was famous and someone like, oh, I saw that you guys are doing a cross promotion with this person. How is that? I'm like, I hate him, and we would get so many
I don't know. If people hate you, you're probably successful. We have 0 haters right now.
What is that phrase? Any coverage is good coverage, or any?
I think so. Roadmap, World Series previews and predictions. Just go down the rabbit hole. I'll talk a little bit about matchups, but I think it comes down to a few things and whether you have run afoul of the baseball gods. I'll give a heads up on the NPB Japan series because it's kind of interesting. They also have ties over there. So that thing, if it's going to go max, I was like, oh, they're going to go to 8 games? How do you end up on an even number? That's because the third game was a tie. Ooh. Or maybe the second game was a tie. One of the games was a tie. After 12, that's just a tie.
I will say this about the World Series. It'll come down to pitching, and that's where I think.
That's what I think, man. I mean.
But I'll tell you who I think will honestly win and who I want to win. Okay. Maybe they're the same teams. Who knows?
I got one. Here's what we'll do for roadmap. I'm doing World Series, and I'm going to tell some Bobby Valentine stories because this Valentine's Way book, for any book of a baseball lifer, is always going to have crazy interesting stories of the guys he played with and Dominican Winter Leagues and all that stuff. But yeah, I'm going to do World Series preview, Bobby V, a little bit of Japan ball. But do you want to explain to anybody that's watching your New York Yankees hat as if you were explaining it to the guy in the grocery store?
Oh, so yesterday I was at Quick Trip and I was coming out.
QT?
Yeah,
no one says that. They're getting pimped.
Anyway,
they're getting pimped out in there.
That's another thing.
Have you seen their slushy game? Is it QT? Well, it's 47 slushy flavors up in there.
Anything that you buy in that store that's produced by the Quick Trip brand is amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Their Rooster Boosters, their energy drinks are fucking spectacular.
I don't know if it was a QT or not, but I was went to this science store because I was if I'm getting Liam a toy, I'm gonna get him something educational.
Yeah.
So I was let's go in here and get a Slurpee. It wasn't 6 flavors, 2 machines, 7E. There was 15.
Quick Trip does it big, dude. But anything made by Quick Trip with by their brand is amazing.
So you're in QT and a dude's gonna sweat you about your Yankees cap in Texas?
So I'm walking out. He was nice. He was a nice, friendly dude. But I'm walking out, and he looked at my hat. He kind of laughed. He said, "Hey, man, sorry." I was like, Because I like this hat, and
he's not. If he's saying that, he's definitely not sorry.
And he was like kind of laughing because he sounds like a bandwagon Astros fan. But I was like, I didn't realize what hat I had on. I was like, oh shit, oh no, it's all right, man. Astros got hot. They're hot right now. Unfortunately, they won. They beat the Yankees. I didn't want to be like how I normally am. Was like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm not a Yankees fan. I do not care. And you're a bandwagon fan probably. But I was like, oh, it's okay. You know, I was all nice about it. Usually I'm an asshole about it.
Maybe that's a good lead into the World Series preview, is like a retrospective, like talk about the last few series, because I do have a few thoughts on the pods, and I do have some thoughts on the Yankees-Stros series.
You know why I have this red Yankees hat, and it's a funny reason. It's because back in the 90s, and I still am a Limp Bizkit fan, he always had the red Yankees hat.
Just love Fred Durst.
Honestly, literally, this is why I bought the hat, because I wanted to like an homage of Fred Durst. I know it's a stupid reason, but...
Man, 3 people just dove out on us when she said you like Fred Durst. Come back.
No. I love Limp Bizkit. Like, I'm not.
They got some jams. If people are saying that they don't like a couple of his jams, then they don't know what they're talking about.
And the thing about Limp Bizkit was
jams.
They knew who they were, what they liked to do, and they kind of did their own thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's like a lot of music. When people get real opinionated about a super popular band, I was like, I don't know, bro. I bet you I can find, like, especially if they're really big, there's probably one song that you rocked out to at a party. And
Nickelback. I love Nickelback.
Don't.
Yeah, I love Nickelback. And, like, it's not being funny. I literally do like Nickelback. I get it that they're generic as hell as far as rock goes, but I like their stuff. Like,
they're good musicians, but, man, there's a lot of Nickelback hate out there. But I guess that's when you're successful, then people just poop all over.
Well, that's what they were saying. They were like, there's a lot of people that hate us, but yet a lot of people come to our shows.
Can't say that
we're playing in arenas.
I've listened to them. I probably have because it's radio play, but then again, I have the same Beastie Boys CD on repeat for the last 4 months. So I don't really get out. Songs. I don't really get outside of the Beasties too much.
Like, I get in a van when we go eat, I'm like, Beastie Boys again? I'm just I don't do that. I don't do that.
It's that same CD every time.
You know what, though? If you know me and my wife, Samantha, will say this, I listen to the same songs and the same bands on repeat all the time. So I'm the same way. I don't really change it up a whole lot.
All right. Well, that's the roadmap then. We'll do a little retrospective on the ALCS, NLCS, and then we'll bump music it in because we got some nice locked horns bump music going into the World Series.
I really hate to say this, but I'm going to have to say it because it's going to get you heated.
Okay.
Guess what we're not going to see in the World Series this year when they go to the Phillies Stadium?
I already know, dude. There's no AL, NL... chicanery.
There's going to be no
pitchers. Yeah.
No pitchers are going to be hitting in the World Series this year.
Because that's a good idea, says MLB.
And that sucks because could you imagine being a pitcher? You don't even have to be in a spot where it's a game-changing hit, but just getting a hit in the World Series as a pitcher, like, hey man, that was cool.
It's not. And again, it's not rocket science. Jim Leland said it best. He's like, dude, managing in the National League wasn't that flipping hard. Like, if I'm ahead and my pitcher's dealing, I don't pinch hit. If I'm behind, I pinch hit, like in the 6th inning or whenever you get to that point or clutch point. He's like, it's an easy managerial take, but still, once you start getting in, like, again, I always bring it back to like the Matt Stairs homer, which was again the Phillies, by the way.
One of the greatest utility players of all time.
Oh man, that was such a bomb. But Stairs, professional hitter, guy was awesome. Canadian, represent Canada baseball. He was pinch hitting for Ryan Madsen. So there's like more than one pinch hit opportunity when you have like because they were using a lot of relievers too then. So you're like going through seeing who's like I'm not going to use Stairs in this spot. I'm going to wait till like the 8th when it's like Madsen and then I'm going to pinch hit Stairs. So it's never been. And again, the ultimate interleague play is the World Series. That's the ultimate where you get to see these dudes who didn't hit all year in the American League really try to have a manager around that. So that's sad. Stage. It's the biggest stage. And I mean, there was a postseason game last year where they were laughing because there's like a pitcher standing at the very end of the box. He'd never had a major league at bat. He wasn't going to swing, and they walked him.
That's why interleague play now has lost its sting because it's the same setup on both sides.
It's basically the American League. Anymore. So that's a little bit frustrating. But what I guess on that is it's never been about pitchers sucking. We know that. That's what's good about it. Because if they actually get a hit, you're like, oh, snap, I can't believe it. Or you got to manage around it, and it creates different situations.
You know who cracked me up when they would come to bat was Zach Greinke.
Oh, Greinke's a great hitter, dude. That guy can hit. He's pissed, dude. He was like going for some kind of like pitcher's hitting record. I don't know. I got to drink some water because I'm so stuffed up and sick. But do you want to give me your thoughts on the ALCS, NLCS pods and Phils and Yanks and Stros?
Well, I'll say this about the Yankees when they played the Astros in the ALCS. The thing that really pissed me off was the Yankees fans. Like, I understand you're upset that
That'll many times do it.
Because I understand that like they lost and they were getting beat up. But, like, dude, it's the ALCS. Aaron just had a great year. They made it to the ALCS. Like, why are you booing them? It's not like they are terrible. They just unfortunately.
Yeah, Judge was getting booed. I thought that was pretty. Come on, man.
Like, I understand it's the terrible Astros and I hate that team, but like they were doing well, and like you
could be Budweiser's,
but like no player
involved in the booing, but
nope. There's been a lot of what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Scenarios where a great player has struggled in the playoffs. And, dude, it wasn't like it was the first round. It was ALCS.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And Judge is young. He's got a long career.
Like, cut the man some slack.
Didn't he hit a dong? He had a couple homers, I think, in the postseason.
I did see this cool picture. That,
Soto was kind of like the same as Judge. He wasn't, like, instantly on fire, and he kind of got it going.
Yeah, so, like...
any thoughts on the Pod series?
No. It was a good series.
I got a lot of thoughts on the Pods. I like the Pods. I like the Pods fan base.
And my dude, ex-Rays player, Blake Snell, you know.
Here's a Blake Snell's greatness.
God damn it. We have these stupid bots again.
Porn bots.
Tired of being alone? Well, we'll help you.
That's a baseball fan. The bots are. I've always said the German porn bot. The German porn bot that always like comments on all our videos that get like 23 views. I try to beat them to the comments, but maybe the German porn bot is a baseball fan. I don't really know. But here's my thoughts on ALCS, NLCS.
And they came in do like 3 in a row. They don't have it. Oh, yeah, 69mega.com. Maybe that's a future sponsor.
You never know.
Sponsored by a porn website. I don't know.
Oh man, I reposted this old ass Ludacris video, and remember when they were like writing goldenpalace.com on like chicks' breasts in the back of boxers? That's how old that video was. But anyway, ALCS, NLCS. Loving the Padres fans. I love the goose. I hope the goose forever becomes a thing in Petco Park because that was hilarious.
The goose was loose.
The other thing that was cool was kind of my personal, and I don't know if other people felt like this. This is kind of like the Fernando Rodney thing, where you're just like, dude, you don't like that guy. He's got his cap tilted, and then you find out why he did it because he's respecting his like past father.
Look, man.
And then you're like, I love Fernando Rodney now.
I've always no. It's not even that. Like I like Fernando Rodney. It's just that when he would lose, I would get pissed and blame it on his hat.
Blame it on his hat.
Like he was a good closer. It's just that when he would lose, I'd be like, "Fuck you! What the hell? Wear your hat right." And then I found out it was an homage to his dad. I'm like,
it's just one of those things where you kind of like learn a little bit about yourself that I'm just a shallow butthole because Fernando Rodney's a baseball lifer and he's like still playing, I think, Winter League somewhere. So he's just a baseball dude. And then Manny Machado, man, this is I don't know how other people feel about it, but this is how shallow and horrible a person. When Machado came up, I didn't really like him. I don't like his attitude. I thought he was like...
He kind of does have an attitude, yeah.
I thought he was too cool for school with Baltimore, but he was a good ball player. He always had a good glove, and I think people are really starting to see that now. But he's not too cool for school. And this is what people said about Hank Aaron. They're like, man, Hank Aaron doesn't hustle. And Hank Aaron's personal philosophy was like, dude, you ever watch me go for a ball in the gap? You ever watch me steal a base? When I got to go, I go. I'm not here to like blow out my knees, running a bunch of laps for everybody. So people get like, they watch a dude, they get an idea about a dude. And I think a lot of us, including myself, but I'll just speak for myself, I formed an opinion that Machado was maybe not a team guy. He was too cool for everybody and wasn't the biggest Manny Machado fan. And I guarantee there's a whole bunch of people who are seeing a side of Manny Machado with the San Diego Padres who were like, dude, that's my guy. I love Machado's vibe. I think a lot of those dudes on this team are viewing Machado's like the straight-up leader. He was
Their shortstop
came from KBO. Korean guy, was a stud. He was a 3-time Gold Glover in the KBO, and Machado welcomed with open arms.
And ever since Tatis got
Kim.
suspended because of the whatever he used that was illegal, Machado kind of took over. And they got kind of far into the playoffs.
They did great.
Without him.
I mean, I thought they had a chance against Philly just because I really liked their pitching staff. I thought, Soto needed to be a little bit hotter than he was, perhaps, and their lineup was. I mean, I don't really know where it all went wrong, or maybe just Philly's that good, but
Phillies were just a little better.
But you got Blake Snell and Yu Darvish.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good 1-2 punch there if you got to win 4 games in a 7-game series.
I remember being in I still lived in Dallas, but when Darvish was coming to the Rangers, it was a big deal up there.
I'm probably going to have to blow my nose and hawk loogies. That's why I got this trash can in here. My tissues.
When Darvish came to the Rangers, it was a big deal. Like, people were so hyped when it happened.
I love Darvish. Darvish is even crazier if you go back and look at his stats with the Nippon Ham Fighters in Japan. Dude's ERA was under 2 every flipping year.
He's still doing it.
And that was the Rangers with that huge posting fee. So that was my thought. I was loving the Pods fans, loving the Goose, starting to get emotionally involved with a lot of the Pods players. So I kind of wanted the Pods to win that. I thought the Pods were gonna pull it off. But Phillies are in. Got some thoughts on the Phillies. I'll give it a minute. But here's the thoughts on the...
Can you imagine, a funny stat, the travel, going from one coast to the next coast, playing those games?
Yeah.
That's got to be brutal.
The Astros Yankees obviously getting a lot of...
That,
yeah. I mean, it's getting a lot of push of bad blood, but on the baseball front, it was basically a cold-blooded assassin's takedown from Houston. That was very lopsided.
To me, very lopsided it was the
baseball.
Pitching of the Astros, obviously.
Their Astros bullpen is huge.
Yankees couldn't get nothing going, man. Nobody on that team could get anything going. That's because if it was a basis off offense versus offense, the Yankees would obviously win that. But with pitching,
so this is yeah, exactly. Because it's Monday morning quarterback now. You could go back and look at everybody's regular season. I don't know, that could be a game. It could be a matchup that might go 7. But when you look back at it now, you go, no, you know what it was? It was just bad at bats by the Yankees. You got to make contact, and you can see it's the Astros hit some home runs, but they made contact and hit singles in bunches in certain spots when they needed to. So the ability to have a good professional bat, put the bat on the ball, that was a huge difference. The bullpen.
I mean, people know
bullpen was Astros bullpen was so good.
Yeah, they came.
That's scary. That's scary. If you got to face those guys, they're just bringing them one after another.
Because anybody knows if you have a good or great bullpen and / pitching in general, even if you have good offense, good luck.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that's that's kind of the tail.
Well, that's not true. I guess you still need somewhat of an offense because Seattle Mariners with King Felix was an example, but you know what I mean.
It feels a little like all the San Francisco teams that kept racking up rings with good pitching, and kind of when you looked through Pablo Sandoval and those, they had some dudes that could hit, but it wasn't like you had a bunch of 40 home run guys and stuff like that. It was more so that you had Brian, Wilson was closing, Sergio Romo was the setup guy. The San Francisco Giants bullpen in all of those World Series wins, I thought was the difference. They took down Detroit.
Brian Wilson, the bearded guy.
Yeah, I mean they had dudes coming out of the bullpen. Once they got that lead, it was kind of over.
Yeah.
But then you had to face Lincecum and
Baumgartner, was he on that team?
Baumgartner was on there. I mean, those dudes were at the top of their game. So, I mean, that was just maybe not the most impressive lineup you've ever seen, and nobody picked San Francisco to be that good, but it was just pitching. So if you're looking, I was like, man. And I was looking at the odds today. I mean, of course, they're in Houston, so you're going to have a home field advantage, but the odds makers have Houston as a 1.5 favorite, 1.5 run favorite in Game 1. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But the ALCS, and they're basically both ALCS now, was just a dispatch of a better team. I couldn't tell you how much better the Astros were than the Yankees before because you can't see in the future, but you can see clearly a sweep is the ultimate disgracing, you know? And it's like you're not even in our league. So that was,
especially in the ALCS, man. You can't get swept.
And you can't talk about Astros Yankees series without kind of glossing over the bad blood, right? Because you do not like the Astros. You're a Tampa Bay Rays fan. Dutch Chattahoochee, It Never Slows in Florida album coming out 2025. Release party, Club Super Sex in Montreal.
Even before the cheating scandal, I didn't like the Astros. I've just never liked the Astros.
That's interesting.
Plus Roger Clemens and his whole thing.
And here's one interesting thing. So like the cheating scandal happened. There's no question dudes were banging trash cans, but there's like this whole thing with John Boy and the fact that they were, and I didn't watch a whole lot of that, so I don't know how much they were pushing the buzzer narrative. People were like, "Wow, you made your career on the buzzer narrative." I don't know if you did or not, you know.
Yeah.
But a lot of Houston fans seem to be pretty upset that people dumped all over Altuve, and Altuve legitimately does seem like the nicest dude ever. And I think he's a ball player. I don't care what you say; that dude is a great ball player. So they cheated. I don't think they're cheating now, obviously, because the entire world's watching on everything they do. So.
But it has been a couple years.
It's like Brady and Deflategate. And I don't really know who cheated on the Astros. I have to go back and look. I don't know if Altuve was one of them.
Altuve was a big player. They said that he'd had a buzzer on his chest.
But see, I think that's coming out now that there was no buzzer. That was like some Twitter account just
I believe there was
pulling stuff out of their asses.
Because there was a couple times where like people tried, like when they tried to take off his jersey, he's like, no. Like, why would you say no?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why. So, like, I guess. I don't know. The whole thing, it's one of two things. Nobody knows, right? But, I mean, they're banging on trash cans. That we know for sure. But the buzzer thing was like this Twitter account that was freaking Beltran, Carlos Beltran's niece, which I don't even think is like a real person. So if that's your flipping source, that's like,
yeah.
I mean, and they're saying, like, if you see that, like, they didn't rip off her shirt, like, let me make up something that's believable for a reason on why you wouldn't rip off your shirt, and then they say that, and then everybody goes with it, and now it's a thing. And I was like, I don't know. That sounds kind of crazy. How are you going to wear a buzzer out there?
Hey,
I don't know.
On the pitches,
I'm not in the buzzer camp personally. And here's what I'll say.
I am. I got my tent in the ground. Everything.
I think the Stros got some good players. People have every right to hate him if they want. I got like no ill will against Houston personally. I like to see Houston when they do good. And the other thing is like the Nolan Ryan eras and their insano Tequila Sunrise uniforms. There's just a lot of retro stuff about like the Astros.
Was that you posted an article about like if they wore the Phillies and the Astros wore their throwback uniforms for the World Series?
No, somebody was posting that, but they should.
I know.
That would be awesome.
I know. I retweeted it, but I thought you posted it originally. I saw it somewhere.
Yeah,
that would be badass.
I think that would be phenomenal if.
Let's have those powder blue and maroon Phillies.
Phillies got some sweet retro. Stros got some sweet retro, but here's a wonderment about Houston Astros culture. So back, if you watch, excellent documentary, Once Upon a Time in Queens, talks about the Mets '86 World Series win. But they had to get past the Astros. And a good part of that documentary talks about Mike Scott and him scuffing the ball. And, like, they talked about Mike Scott's stats. You know, they're like, oh, this dude was with the Mets. They're like, he wasn't even that good. And now all of a sudden he's got this ball that's just, like, diving into the ground. You know, so my question is, on what level... were these little cheats accepted organizationally? And it's like, hey, this is what you do. This is what you do to get ahead. We're trying to win championships. So I don't know, because these are rumors. Here's baseball rumors. I won't substantiate any of them, but I've heard. So like one thing was like the Tom Kelly managed Twins back when they like took down the Cardinals. Oh, where they were picking signs in the Metrodome. That was one. I've always heard Cleveland had like the best carpenter ever for corking bats. Albert Bell shows up with a cork bat one year. Mike Scott's scuffing pitches. Now you got dudes banging trash cans. And I'm not necessarily absolving the Yankees either because, like I said, and I ordered the book. I ordered Billy Ball. There's actually, side note, sorry. Billy Martin wrote a book with like a ghostwriter called Billy Ball. Then some other dude wrote another book with the same title. Why would you do that? I don't know. I mean, Billy Ball's a thing, but anyway.
Because if one book is selling with the same name, write another book with the same name.
And I don't even think they consulted him on. They just took it and just made another Billy Ball book. But the one I got, I think, is the one that talks about the guy in Yankee Stadium with the binoculars in the outfield. So picking signs on some level, I've heard rumors about it. But yeah, the Astros have had some stuff. Mike Scott may very well have been a lot of evidence supporting that he was scuffing baseballs, banging trash cans, no doubt.
Which is weird because, like, I mean, there's some cheating, yes, that's going to happen. Smaller scale cheating, whatever. Like, I don't have a problem with a cork bat. I know that's a big one, but I've never had a problem with it. I don't care.
Corking it?
Yeah. To me, that's...
Craig Nettles, he was on the Yankees, I think, or I can't remember.
I know Sammy Sosa had cork bats quite often. There was that famous one where it broke. And
there's a lot of dudes that have had them break in the game, and they always got a pretty hilarious excuse whenever that does happen.
Oh, I didn't know. I grabbed the wrong bat. Okay, dude.
Side note into like my second segment in the Valentine's Way book. So he played with Dick Allen, who ended up going. He was a huge dude, but he played with the White Sox and stuff like that. And granted that the Dodgers broke the color barrier with Jackie Robinson, there was some definitely very well. What would say documented accounts. There's probably, especially in the 60s and stuff, still dealing with institutional racism. And Dick Allen was only in L.A. Dodger blue for like a year, and they shipped him off, I think, to Chicago. But Don Sutton was on those Dodgers, and he scuffed the ball all the time, and Dick Allen didn't like it.
To give it like more velocity? Or?
Yeah, just to give it more movement, really.
Yeah.
And Dick Allen didn't like that. He was like... So whenever he'd get his hands on a ball, he'd throw it out of play. He'd like give it to a fan if he could, or whatever. Like, so he was taking all the the scuffed balls that they liked and, chucking them in the stands. So isn't that interesting? Yeah, some dudes on the team were like not cool with it and kind of like actively working against it. A little piece of history.
I think it's great.
That's the interesting stuff you get when you read these baseball bios.
They
but anyway,
play fair on this team.
So anyway, you got the Astros bad blood. Astros, Yankees, bad blood, all the controversy. Astros, better team this year, took them down brutally and are on to the World Series. So I really don't know. The Yankees series wasn't like Yankees-Astros wasn't that good of a series to watch because they were just kicking their ass and Yankees couldn't make contact. And Astros had good situational hitting and a great bullpen, so... That's what it's looking like. But the Phillies are fun. That's why it was hard in the National League. Those are both super fun teams that you wanted to see do good. The Phillies and the Pods, I liked them both. But I got history with Philly. I don't know. What are your thoughts on? I mean, I know you like the Bryce Harper narrative, right?
Oh yeah, like that was a thing. I want the Phillies to win just so Bryce Harper can be like, well, they don't really talk about it as much anymore, obviously, but they were like, hey, you left us and we won a World Series, so now if Bryce Harper wins, you'd be like, well, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
Because they won the year, I think, right after he left, right?
They were like, Nationals fans were like, oh, you took the money and now we're drinking your tears. And here's Bryce Harper doing it, taking the...
And what's funny about that team is like that team barely made the playoffs. The Nationals that year? Well, they went on a run actually second half because like the beginning of the first half, beginning of the second half, they were like terrible. Their record was below 500.
Yeah.
And they went on a streak and they kind of made the playoffs and won the World Series. But
that was a great.
I don't know if
that was such a great team. It kills me because Rendon's now with the Angels too. I want to say no. Anthony Rendon went to Rice, I think. So I'm getting confused. Somebody went to Cal State for him. I think Anthony Rendon went to Rice University here in Texas. But,
probably.
Man, the Angels got some good flipping players. They suck. I just don't understand.
They're throwing away Ohtani's and Trout's career.
Yeah, I also came across
Terrible.
an interesting factoid. If you look back, I can't remember what the year was, the draft, when Trout got drafted, just to make Yankees fans feel maybe a little bit more pain. Yeah, that was the Yankees pick that they traded.
Oh, so they
It
had
was
Trout?
it was a supplemental. They traded to the Angels for like part of the Mark Teixeira trade.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
So it was like, technically, if you still had that, you might have had Trout.
Teixeira was a beast, too, with the Rangers.
Teixeira was kind of a beast with the Rangers. And
He
with a
was-
name like that, I was like, you're kind of like perfect dude to be a lifer,
Ticks.
right? Teixeira?
He was kind of the face of the franchise for that team for a while.
So that's my thoughts. The bad blood goes forward, but World Series preview. Now, history with the Phillies. Jay Daniels' book, Finally, spelled P-H, Finally. Good book on Phillies getting over the hump. 1980. We talked a little bit about Del Innis, 1950, 126 RBIs.
That's going to live forever.
It'll live forever. The 1950 was there's this period of time when the Phillies really came up with these dudes called the Whiz Kids. They had a bunch of really young, great players. Richie Ashburn was a great center fielder. They had, man, I'm so stuffed up. But
You get this era, this change.
just swallow it, yeah. But yeah, the Phillies, longtime organization, and my personal favorite when you look back at all those different teams, the 19, because Mike Schmidt, Tug McGraw, they had some awesome dudes on there. But like for me, I think it was like 90, 91. It was the Dykstra, Darren Dalton, Mickey Morandini, Kevin Stalker, Jim Eisenreich. I mean, they were stacked. You had Mitch Wild Things Williams closing
That is
games.
my favorite team, but it's just off of Mitch Williams.
John Kruk,
Yeah.
Kruckster, man.
I
That
think that
was
was-
like, oh man, that was such a fun team.
Mitch Williams is great. I think like when we first met, I think we had that meeting at Frontier Burger.
Yeah,
I think that's like one of the first things I told you. I fucking love Mitch Williams, man.
Mitch Wild. I mean, if your name is Mitch Wild Things Williams,
He had a cool stance, but he had the pitching ability to back it up. Like,
he
was a
did.
beast. It's unfortunate. Was it the Toronto Blue Jays, right, where he gave up the game?
Blue Jays. Yep, Joe Carter roped one down the line. Not a bad pitch. I mean, he fired in a heater down and in, and Carter just hooked it. But I'll say this. I loved that team, and I was a crazy Lenny Dykstra fan. And this was before
That guy had an attitude problem.
he apparently did,
Apparently, I
and
mean-
may have done some very unprofessional things at certain times. And then he got into a lot of financial trouble. But in the 90s, I didn't know any of that. I just thought he was a spark plug center fielder. And then it also came out that maybe he also may been taking some juice. But as the old Gray Wolf said, if he was taking him right. You know, I mean, the dude was awesome. And I remember one season, I guess the season I was so, it was like my freshman, this had to be like 90, 91. I can't remember, but dude, he was batting over 400 for like,
I was 5 years old in '91.
well, I'm old, man. I mean, you know,
You're not that old.
I was
You're 38.
what? I'm 46.
38.
Sorry, I just need to invest in a burial plot? Is that what you do at this age?
No, not until you hit 50. And at
Okay.
50, that's when you got to start thinking about
Check
stuff.
prostate, and get my burial plot. But
Isn't 55 considered elderly, right?
yeah, when do I get the special menu at Jim's Diner? That's what I want to.
Like, when you walk in, they're like, oh, you show me your AARP card, you get a 20% discount on the pancakes. Hi, Mr. Turnstile.
But look at that one of those seasons, man. Dykstra was chasing down 400, and he was so clutch. He was so clutch in that World Series they lost to the Jays.
For me,
he hit like a ton of homers when they needed it.
You know what was fun to watch was the mid-2000s Phillies.
Yeah.
With Howard, you know.
Ryan Howard was one of those guys that kind of went, and then
Chase Utley.
Utley was great. I mean, they had some great players. I do like the Phillies. And it's so many of their players, so many of their teams. But that 90s team, man, it's just dirtbags. I loved them. That was such a that goes – they didn't – I wish they would have got a title so people could remember them, like the Gas House Gang, or like this kind of like cool name, these just dirtbag guys who put it all out there and won it. But
to me, that's baseball. When I think of baseball imagery, that's what I think of players like that.
The title went north of the border, man. That's how it went.
I mean, I'm not. I don't have a problem with Toronto winning.
Nah,
I like that
Jays
franchise.
are a great organization.
Now they got with Vlad Jr.
Except they
now.
didn't love John Olerud and his helmet enough. Cito Gaston was not a John Olerud fan. So that's kind of my Philly background.
Speaking of Toronto, I'm gonna sidetrack real quick.
Yep.
Dave Stieb, the greatest Toronto player of all time.
Oh man, that guy could pitch.
Dave Stieb is never mentioned enough in terms of great pitchers, but he was one of the greatest of all time.
Is he in the Hall of Fame? I'm gonna go back and look at his numbers or something,
think
man.
so.
That dude was.
He got a World Series with Toronto, right?
I think so.
He was on that team they won, 91, 92,
Yeah,
right?
I think he was. Because he was made a comeback in there. He was dealing with an injury or something with Steve.
Dave Stieb was great because
Steve was awesome.
No one ever talks about him though. When they're like,
well, there's some dude on. There's these fan accounts on Twitter that kind of.
Dave Stieb one, I follow that one.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's called this day in Dave Stieb history.
Yeah, that's great. That's a good follow. But Steve was awesome. So I mean, Phillies, love them or hate them, or this gets complicated with their fans. But if you're not from Philly, you won't understand Philly. And here's what I understand about Philly people:
they booed Santa Claus. That's all I know.
Right? They booed Santa Claus, but you gotta understand
Santa Claus
how
is an
maybe
asshole.
hard. It's a lot like New York in the sense that the city maybe raises you because I'm a Seattle guy. What do I know? I was living in the suburbs. Come down here, half the family's in Texas.
I'm from D-Town. Dallas is in wild.
Texas transplant, what have you. But you don't get that street smarts. But dudes from Philly and New York, I played with Jimmy Joyce, who was from Brooklyn. Man, that guy was fun to walk around the city with because he was just hard, dude. He wouldn't take shit off homeless people. Oh man, that's not. He wouldn't. He just always had something to say. You just couldn't mess with him. And then my second deployment was an entire unit. All those dudes were from Philly. Man, and they were so funny. They were so funny, but super opinionated, not going to back down, and they're not here to be nice to you. If you did something dumb, they just rip you to your face.
I respect brutal honesty like that, though.
That's how Philly is.
I think
brutal,
it's great.
Brutal honesty.
It's just whatever we feel we're going to tell you, we're not going to sugarcoat nothing.
Yeah.
If we like you, we'll tell you. If we hate you, you'll know.
So Philly's a unique demographic, I think.
I think more people
maybe
need to be
people
like
don't
that.
understand unless you live there. But yeah. So Philly, New York, and is what it is, man. So tough fans. They're not gonna sugarcoat it for you. But they got their team in there, and they're basically expecting a World Series championship, where they're probably going to dump all over the players.
I was thinking the World Series. Hey, if you want to sneak into the game, there's that underground tunnel in the stadium. Remember on Sunny in Philadelphia?
Oh, yeah, he sneaks in.
Well, they're trying to find that underground tunnel, which is a linen closet or.
It's also a classic. If you've seen Trailer Park Boys, where Bubbles and those guys try to sneak into the Rush concert.
Yeah,
that's such good stuff.
And dude, that guy Bubbles, that's a badass. Have you ever heard any of his songs? What's the song?
Guy's legitimately a good musician.
Bologna and Mustard.
This guy's got some good ones.
He was in a band before Trailer Park Boys. You can find it. I forgot the name of it.
Nah, he's awesome.
What's his name? Mike Smith, right? That's his name.
Is Mike Smith Bubbles?
I think so.
I forget. He'll always just be Bubbles to me.
Cause Ricky. Yeah, I don't know their names. I know there's a Mike Smith. I think that's Bubbles.
Just legally change their names.
I'm pretty sure Bubbles is Mike Smith.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I might have followed them at Twitter. They might be on Twitter somewhere, but
I follow them on YouTube. That's really it.
But yeah, don't be shocked if Philly fans boo and throw beer, because of course I don't know if World Series ticket prices price out that behavior, but I just don't think it does in Philly. Philly's Philly, and that's awesome.
I would hate to be a Philly player because dude, we fuck up, we're getting it.
So all right. If anybody's watching, we've teased it long enough. I'm going to give my prediction, and then you give your. Actually, you go first, and then I'll go second on who's going to pull this out. Who's going to wear the crown?
So there's two things I must say.
Yeah.
The first, I want the Phillies to win, but I feel like with the Astros pitching and how dominant it has been in this playoff run, they're going to win because of the pitching.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't feel like the offense of the Phillies has enough. While it is good, obviously, it's just not enough to continue with the pitching of the Astros. Because the Astros has a pretty decent offense, too.
The Astros hit good. They do everything good.
So that's my prediction. I want the Phillies to win, But based on like what I've seen with the Astros pitching,
If you were a betting man, that's
I would bet on the Astros. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
And it fucking hurts my heart to say that. But
if
as a person who watches it, that's how it is. I feel, you know what I'm saying? You got to be honest. Like there's your opinions, and then there's like actual facts.
right.
So yeah. So
That's a good.
I think the Astros are gonna win.
That's a good legitimate take, and so I'm with you, but I don't because Major League Baseball doesn't have pitchers hitting and they're doing all these wacky ass things like the Manfred Man, and I just basically am boycotting. My dog in the fight is really the D-Not Bay Stars because Mr. Nakatomi takes care of us, flies us around, does everything for us. So I'm just in his camp with the D-Not Bay Stars. But when it comes to Major League Baseball, if I got to pick on this one, everything I'm looking at analytically and just looking at the teams and vibing is telling me Astros, but I'm picking the Phillies to win. And if I'm a gambling man, I'm picking the Phillies, and here's why.
What's that?
Baseball gods. Baseball gods frown on certain things, in my personal opinion. The Dodgers, got run out of the postseason.
They did not have a good postseason run.
In my personal opinion, because they did not respect the fact that Clayton Kershaw was throwing a perfect game.
So you think that came back to haunt them?
I think the baseball gods said...
You actually mentioned that like a couple weeks ago. You're like, it's going to come back. And
I tweeted it out. I said, if you don't want... Because I understand
this
it's a
was
sport.
actually before the playoffs started.
Yeah.
It was like, something's going to happen.
I understand it's a sport. I understand it's a team sport. It's a long season. You're trying to get to the end. It's not about individuals or individual accomplishments.
What is it? It's not a race. It's a marathon or something?
I understand all that. Also understand about players' health and arms. Okay, there's a lot of data out there suggests pitch count and stuff is helping dudes avoid injuries and things like that. Okay, and not everybody is Nolan Ryan. I get that. Okay,
not a workhorse.
Watch the Facing Nolan. I would tell people to watch the Facing Nolan to see. Oh man, I forgot the guy was a Houston player forever, but he made a catch in the gap, and he wasn't that good of an outfielder. And he was really proud that he made that catch because it was like Nolan's 5th no-hitter. And he just felt
like... He makes some good sausage, too.
And so, like, a no-hitter in a perfect game is a team thing. Everybody, like, all those dudes remember. When you read this Valentine book, goes back and talks about all the different stuff he's seen and done. They remember all those games. So it's a cool thing. Don't ever say a perfect game, it doesn't matter pitch count. Because if pitch count matters more than perfect games, I think we're losing something. So my take was the Dodgers should have been, hey, man, you're Clayton Kershaw. You paid your dues. How's your arm feel? You know you had surgery. Your pitch count's like 70 or whatever, 80 it is. You got 2 innings to go. He's like, you know what, man, this is history, dude. Let's just go for it. I feel good.
It's irritating to me because, like, the Dodgers every year get hyped up and they get to the playoffs and they fucking blow it. They got lucky when they won in 2020. But other than that, dude, every single time they go there and they lose. Like, what the hell?
I don't know, man. But that disrespect of the baseball gods is when the baseball gods looked at the Dodgers and says, well, you guys don't really like cool things. You don't like cool moments, and I'm not going to give you one because Clayton Kershaw could have had a perfect game. There's only a few handful of those in the entire world that have ever happened. You don't care about it, so you don't get a World Series. Now,
it makes sense.
I tweeted that out, and then if you look at Luis Severino throwing a no-hitter against the Rangers, 7 innings in, Brett Boone goes out there, takes Severino out, and you can see Severino in the dugout shaking his head. No, man, I do not agree. Nuh-uh, you don't understand. Like this, like that was that guy's chance. I don't know how long you're going to be in the show till you get surgery or injury. You only got so many chances to throw a major league no-hitter. And you're an 80-year-old man. I understand it's not an individual sport, but if you stop, like, why does Aaron Judge's 62 homers matter? Like, why does anything matter? This is about moments. This is about glory. This is about baseball. So if you start acting like pitch count, like a no-no doesn't trump a pitch count, I got a problem with that.
Well, they do it in every other sport. They allow the players to get the accomplishment. Like in football, like if you're going to break the touchdown record and you know what I'm saying, and you're already up by 30, just hand it off.
You got to respect the moments, because if it all turns into launch angle and pitch counts, It's not really that interesting. It's not really about like going out there and doing something hard. And it's dangerous. I mean, dudes are like base jumping. People are doing wild, crazy things. You shouldn't be like, oh, we have to make millions and make more money and have you win 20 next year. Like, no, dude, this is today. Win the game today. Do something amazing right now.
But like
next
nobody
pitch.
on the team is going to give a shit if that one game, that one day, that one moment, the guy has an individual feat. No one's going to care.
Yeah, and
The team's not gonna
Severino
get pissed.
isn't even that big of a Boone fan because I think he was saying some stuff in the press. But
Probably.
But check out what happened. So Yankees got blown out of the postseason anyway, and you took that guy's chance at a no-hitter away, and what'd you save? 2 innings? You saved that guy's arm? No, you didn't save anything. You took away that guy's chance at a no-hitter, and now you're out of the
I
postseason.
feel like sometimes managers don't manage what they feel. It's what like the stats say. Like, well, we got to watch his arm.
But that's what the baseball gods said. They said, you know what? If you don't want baseball glory, we're not going to give you baseball glory. And so I tweeted out, I was like, that's why I think these dudes are not going to do good in the postseason because the Dodgers took out Kershaw in a perfect game, incredibly rare. And then the Yankees disrespected the 7-inning no-no Severino had going, and they're out. And when I tweeted that, one of my favorite Japanese league follows, this dude Steve, who's a crazy Chiba Lotte fan, goes, well, by that logic, then the Astros are out because Verlander got taken out of 2 no-nos this year. And I was like, what, did he? So I looked, and Verlander did get taken out of 2 no-hitters this year, one in the 5th inning and one in the 6th, but there's a caveat.
What's that?
He came off Tommy John. And so that's one of the ones where they really go pitch count crazy. But
Plus, he's older in age now.
he's older, and they got Tommy John. But by my insane Anthony Turnstile logic, do the baseball gods care or no?
Now,
Right?
if you're basing your reasoning off what's happened so far, he hasn't gotten his yet. So maybe in the World Series is when the Astros get their
Yeah, so,
fine.
I mean, Verlander's already got 3 no-hitters, so it's one like, it's not like Severino where it's like we're taking his chance to like get a no-hitter. But baseball gods, maybe the baseball gods even frown upon Tommy John surgery. I know like you're messing with the plan, dude. Just make it happen. You don't have to throw 100 or whatever and blow out everybody's elbow and rebuild everybody's elbow. If you got a no-no, you go for the no-no. I don't know. But Verlander did get taken out of 2 no-nos. I understand why. I'm not even necessarily disagreeing with those two as much as I am with Severino and Kershaw. And again, Kershaw was coming off a procedure. But his pitch count was crazy low, and it's Kershaw. So you knew he did a bunch of training and built his arm back up or they wouldn't let him be starting any game.
He's a Texas boy. He's tough. He's
Right? So I'm just saying the baseball gods are deciding. And right now, you disrespected or maybe upset the baseball gods, potentially Astros and the Phillies. Against all odds and Vegas odd makers, we're going to pull it off.
I really hope the Phillies do win. That's figure out that Astros pitching.
And it'll be worth it when they win to see the riots because they're going to destroy downtown.
Of course they will. People want to do that.
That's what you got to, like, you want to see. I mean, Houston will go off. Houston will do it right if they win, too. But I'm just saying the Philly ones are always fun.
They haven't won one since, what, mid-2000, 2008 or something when they won their last
So that's a preview. I mean, you can look at the matchup stats, but really I don't know how long we've been streaming for, but really the 1.5 run. And I think that's kind of a huge, I don't know if that's just like game one gamblers or just get like spotting a run and a half to the Astros, but you might want to throw some money down on that one. I got to get my sports gambling up.
See, so what I was talking about earlier with the pitchers of the Astros, their combined ERA is 2.77.
Yeah.
So it's really low.
I don't know. I was looking at some stuff. I don't know what site this is. Team rankings. I mean, they're not that far off on a ton of stuff. Technically,
this is like what you were talking about with their bullpen. Their bullpen has an ERA of 0.82.
Really?
Like that's below 1. So yeah, that's dominant as fuck.
I don't know. They definitely got a good bullpen. Nobody's saying they don't, but
batters opposing batters are only hitting 127 against them.
Yeah.
So that's insanely low, right? Phillies are gonna have to figure something out, or they're gonna be just like the rest of the teams and get. I really hope the Astros don't blow them out. I don't want to sweep in the World Series.
Well, I would say this:
the Rays got swept twice in the World Series. So.
If you are going up against the Astros, I think the Pods were a good preview for that, because that was a lot of good pitching on the Padres you had to face and beat. So if you were looking to beat a pitching-centric team, I mean, the Astros got it all, but if you're looking to beat some good pitching, I like the Astros pitching, or the Padres pitching a lot. Starting pitching, and maybe their bullpen wasn't as strong as it needed to be, but the Phillies cracked the code there, so who knows. But
I think the Phillies are in trouble, but
if anybody facing Houston's definitely in trouble. They're streaking, they're hot, but I think it'll be a good series. I think it'll go to 7. I think it'll go 7, and I think that.
Are we making predictions right now? So you think it'll be 7 games?
I think it'll be a 7-game series. Yeah.
So in my head, the Phillies are going to win, but with the facts and based on the dominant Houston bullpen and pitching, I think they're going to win in 5. I think they're going to win 4-1, obviously, and I think Phillies are going to get 1 at home, and then that's it.
It's tough, man.
So I think, that's my prediction right now. 4-1, Houston wins.
Could be different. And another thing about you got to think about too, the age and experience of a lot of the dudes in the lineup for the Seattle Mariners and the Yankees. Younger guys, mainly, not a bunch of veterans, but you got like Nick Castellanos, you got Schwarber, you got Harper. These dudes have seen Verlander. These guys have played and seen a lot of at-bats, so they're kind of like at-bat IQ.
I mean, they do have
you know
studs.
What I'm saying?
They do have studs on them. They have a couple of good pitchers on the Phillies, Wheeler and Nola, but I mean...
Yeah, so like if their pitching can hold
that,
up...
it's kind of sketchy.
I think there's enough dangerous hitting on the Phillies to, if you get a few dudes getting on in front of them. But yeah, I mean, Houston's not really going to walk you, and you better have some of the best at-bats of your life to knock a single.
Bryce
get in
Harper
there.
will play well, obviously.
Yeah.
But.
So, I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
I can't stand Major League Baseball and what they've done with the rule changes, but I've been watching a ton of them. It's sad to say, but
I told you, man, you can't get it.
You can't get away from it.
Something you've liked your whole life, you can never.
Can't get away from it. It sucks so bad. But yeah, it'll basically. I'm going to call it the American League World Series.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. There's no more National League. So
you see, baseball, they hear you talking shit about it, but it's like you're still going to watch it sometimes. So
yeah,
why does it matter?
It's talk. It's what's that, sour grapes? You talk smack about something you can't have, and you're just bitter about it. So, yeah, that's the World Series preview. If you're a gambler, I would, don't put your house on it, but I'm thinking Phillies steal one in Houston. If you're giving me a run and a half, you're telling me one of those isn't going to be a one-run ball game? All about that. Spot me a run and a half, gamblers? Those are pretty good teams. So, but we'll see the Aces match up. Both teams had a lot of rest, and we'll kick it Friday, 7 p.m. Central, down in H-Town.
Oh, yeah, tomorrow. Or in Friday.
But,
dude, my days have been messed with this whole week. Like, I was texting you on, what was it, Monday about... Oh, we doing what are we gonna do for a podcast tomorrow? And I was like, it's Monday night. I got school tomorrow.
I'm gonna try to not be sick. How long have we been going for? I have no idea.
Based off of this,
and then we'll try to get my phone out and call Jimmy.
We've been going for about an hour.
Really? That's pretty good. Do I have a phone anywhere, or do I just leave it at the house?
Yeah, we've been going for about an hour. We also came in an hour later than normal too today.
Because I can't call. There we go. Yeah. I'll give Jimmy a call here in a little bit. I'll give.
Let me plug the phone in right now.
No. Let's talk a little bit of Bobby Valentine. I want to hear some of these crazy stories. Bobby Valentine. I mean, I don't know a whole lot about him.
Mets manager,
I knew him more as like the Mets manager, Texas Rangers man. Like he just is kind of like this younger manager. But it always kind of blew my mind because I was aware that he managed in Japan. which is kind of crazy when you think about it. Like, I understand dudes go play there, but managing is a very like, you ain't playing, dude. You got to talk to these guys. You can be like, do this, you know what I'm saying? So that's a difficult language, you know, for the guy Gene to learn. So I was very intrigued by the fact that he went to Japan and managed, and he won a championship. He won it all. It was kind of crazy for a foreign dude to go over there and do that.
I'm sure that team wasn't complaining, though.
They weren't.
Like, hell yeah, championship. What's up?
So the rabbit hole on Bobby Valentine, I don't know how it actually got started. I don't know what the first... I think it maybe had to do with my infatuation with the Japanese league, because I'm just hating on MLB so bad that I was
but you're
like...
still watching the games.
I know. I'm still watching all the games, and, you know, but maybe that's what started me down the Bobby V rabbit hole. So the first thing I did, besides like reading some articles on him, and it may very well have been like in like the 07 or 08 season for Chiba Latte, the owners really wanted to fire him, but they couldn't in his contract. But they could if he said something bad about the ownership. Oh, yeah.
The mirror just fell and it cracked.
Did it?
Yeah, so that's not
7
good.
years bad luck. That's all right. I'm just got to stay at it.
It sounded like someone like fucking tried to get in the door. I was like,
yeah, I had it balanced here so I could put on the tie, but that's all right. Man, that's a tough one to take. Just get instantly injected with 7 years of bad luck sitting here. But that's on me. That's not you, right? You think that just gets one person?
Well, I mean, 7 years of good luck. Since I don't know, we reversed the roles, I guess.
So yeah, Bobby Valentine won a championship, but management wanted to get rid of him. They didn't like his style, or they thought he was arrogant or too condescending, whatever it was. But they couldn't get rid of him under contract. He was getting paid a lot because he'd won the championship, and a lot of the Chiba Lotte fans really liked him. And so then they go, well, we'll fire him if we get him to say something bad. And how do we get him to say something bad is mess with him. We're going to mess with him. We're going to like give him players he doesn't want. We're going to screw up this. We're going to screw up that, and basically make life stink for him. And then he'll say something bad to the papers, and then we don't have to bring him back next year. So they were like, ownership of the team was like trying to throw the season to make him look bad and get him upset and say something bad in the press and get rid of him. And ultimately they did. It was very weird. It was also gave some really interesting insights into like a lot of the, like we've said this before, some of the NPB teams aren't profitable, which blows my mind. Is the number one professional sport in that country, that the top tier team is getting like subsidies from the corporations that own it. Blows my mind. But then there's other things like Bobby Valentine. One of his big pushes was like, dude, we need a better minor league system. You got dudes over here playing for the Toyota corporate team. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need more player development. So it was very interesting. And then I watched the Zen of Bobby V. The Zen of Bobby V is a YouTube video with about 2,000 views, and it follows him all the way through the 2007 Chiba Lotte season. Fascinating. Based on that movie, I was like, I got to know more. I bought this book, which is really recent. This came out last year. This is like a 2021 book called Valentine's Way. And here's what I'll tell you about Bobby Valentine that you may not know. Do you want some interesting factoids? This gets random.
So
this is like, if people like trivia, I'm about to give some awesome baseball trivia.
So he was coaching in Japan, or managing in Japan, before he had that shithole of a final season with Boston when he managed. So,
yeah, that was a kind of a debacle there.
Yeah, 2000. Yep. So 2000. Yeah, because it was 2012. Yeah, 2007.
Yep.
So did he only manage in Japan for that 1 year?
No, he went for like 1 or 2 years, and then he came back. So I think maybe that's when he did the Rangers, and then he went over there again for like maybe a longer stint, like 5+ years, and then he came back and did all the U.S. stuff. Well, so he went a couple times, but this is like this is out of his life, but some interesting stuff about Bobby V. So, two-sport athlete from Stamford, Connecticut. And
East Coast kid, huh?
yeah, very near New York. His parents were Italian immigrants, hard worker. Most everybody in the section of town he lived was like Italian, full-blooded, like his grandparents, cousins. Like everybody lived in Stamford. There's a field in Stamford, Connecticut that says baseball capital of the world. Big sports town, big baseball town. And apparently, according to Bobby V, and Bobby V was 5'10", 5'11", about 185, 190, so not like super tall and lanky, just compact athlete. Dude was wheels, like Ricky Henderson wheels. Like he said he was pigeon-toed. He's like, but if you look at all the fastest dudes ever, like Ricky Henderson, Carl, like dudes were kind of pigeon-toed. They just could like jet along, which I didn't realize that was like a benefit to being pigeon-toed, but apparently he was insane fast. And so when he was in high school, he played football and baseball, and he was just like awesome. He was getting recruited by every university. He talks about all his recruiting trips to like Notre Dame, like Coach Parsegian and like USC. Like everybody wanted him. All the Ivies wanted him. But he picked SC. He picked USC. And so he goes out there, but in the summer, and I don't know how scholarship worked, but in the summer, he got drafted by the Cardinals first round. First rounder was Valentine. This dude was like the hottest prospect ever. And I think part of it was, I guess the family like knew somebody who like came down to watch like a youth league game, and he got to play in the Cape Cod League, which is the most famous elite summer wood bat baseball league, when he was still in high school, which is rare. It's mainly just college all-stars that are going to get drafted. So that was kind of like Bobby V's youth superstar, right? Now here's where it gets fun on trivia. He goes out there, and once you're drafted, right, like you're not eligible. You can't play college baseball anymore, but you still, I guess, get your scholarship. So he's like starts going to class. His roommate, Bill Buckner, the famous Bill Buckner.
The ball between the legs, Bill.
That's what people know him for, but he was a good ball player. And that was Bobby Valentine's roommate.
Was that in the World Series that he did that ball?
Yeah, it was like Game 6 or something in the World
Series.
Right
at first base, he's just... Whoop.
Yeah, it was very, very painful. There's a good, I think, 30 for 30 on that, and kind of like the redemption story where,
But dude, it's
the city of Boston, after winning the World Series, was like trying to make amends.
Well, it's got to be shitty, like one bad play of his great career.
That dude was a ball player, so that sucked for Buckner. But anyway, he was also, like, I think he was the second round pick of the Dodgers, the same draft as Valentine, and he was also on scholarship at SC. So they went out to like SC, and Buckner was like a Cali guy, I think. And they show up to the dorms where all the athletes are supposed to say, but since they are like no longer going to be on the team, they're like, I don't know. Oh man, the wife's calling. I don't know. Let's see here.
You're like
I'm in the middle of a Bill Buckner story.
You're like debating on what to do.
Yeah, I don't know how to deal with that. I was like, I'm just gonna say podcasting live.
You're like, what do you need? Like,
it happened. It's never has it ever not happened.
Well, like you constantly say, you're like, I just want to do something for more than 5 minutes without being like bothered.
Yeah. So anyway, they go to SC and they show up at the dorms. They're like, yeah, you can't stay here. You guys are staying over there. And they're like, oh, well, that sucks. So we're not in the athlete dorm anymore because you don't care. We're got signed by the Dodgers. And so they're like in the international dorms. I think he was staying with some guy, and then another. Oh my gosh!
You're popular, man. You're a popular guy.
It's unbelievable. Okay, so this is the side note you get in this podcast. It's picture day.
For your son?
When we left, I don't know what they're talking about. So it's picture day up at the school, and he's got his little school uniform and his like little tie, and she's like, he forgot his tie. It's like I dropped him off wearing it. How does that happen?
Maybe he took it off and forgot.
Unbelievable. All right, well, okay. So Buckner and
give him your tie.
Buckner and Bobby Valentine can't get like their housing sucks. So like what are you gonna do? Like, well, you can join a frat or whatever. And so, yeah. So, unbelievable. They go down to frat row at USC, and this is kind of hilarious to me. There's like this frat around the corner, Sigma Chi, and these dudes. I mean, I'm not a frat dude, but like if you had a frat, and the number 1 and number 2, first round, second round, and you're in Los Angeles, Dodgers draft pick said, hey, how do we like rush or join your frat? The frat bros were like, whatever, dude, go stay across the street. And they blew him off.
Oh, shit.
And the house across the street was just like a defunct fraternity that like you could just rent rooms in. It wasn't a frat. And so they're like, all right, whatever, these jerks. And so they went over there. And just Buckner and Bobby Valentine rented a room in this like rooms for rent across the street at SC, which is like, how insane is that the Sigma Chi fraternity just blew off the first round and second round pick of the Los Angeles Dodgers?
They had no idea who they were.
They had no idea who they were. It wasn't like social media days, so I can understand why you wouldn't know that if that wasn't. But then all of a sudden, they were like getting in the papers a lot, and the Sigma Chi dudes. Put 2 and 2 together, like, oh shit, those guys are on the Dodgers. And they're like, hey, why don't you come back over? And I always thought at that point in his book, he was like, and we told him to stick it in the mud.
Yeah,
but no, they
didn't.
They joined Sigma Chi. And
I would be like, no, get out of here.
So they were like frat dudes at SC, just like for the housing, but they had to do all the weird frat stuff and Hell Week and all that good stuff. And I guess they had fun and they liked being frat brothers. But it was kind of interesting. But one of the things that was like crazy trivia that came out of Bobby Valentine's book, there's a movie called Animal House. I've seen it a million times. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
I'm aware of it, and I've seen a lot of scenes, but I've never seen it as a whole.
It's pretty doggone funny. Belushi's greatness. But in that movie, a dude goes dumpster diving to get this like purple ink mimeograph that the teachers, like when the old school 60s printers, it was like, it would print the test the day before, and then they'd throw out that in the dumpster at night. And so these dudes figured out that like you could get that purple mimeograph if you knew about printing and get the test the night before or whatever. And there's this dude in his frat house who they called Kinko because he was this Greek guy. And he's like, I don't even know what his real name was, and I'd have to look it up. But he knew how to do that because he knew about printing. And he would dumpster dive and get that test print, like ink print, and give it to the dudes in the frat house, and we could get that the night before. And he goes, that's exactly what appeared in Animal House. He's like, and I know that's where they got it from, which would also kind of make sense because it's Hollywood, and tons of Hollywood dudes came from SC, and they probably heard that story and threw it in the movie.
Yeah, it's L.A., man.
I can't remember who wrote or did Animal House, but probably huge connection to SC. But anyway, that guy who was in his frat, Kinko, was the CEO who started a printing shop, and he started Kinko's. Isn't that random?
That's wild. Kinko's was huge in the 90s.
Well, now it's like FedEx Kinko's, but yeah, Bobby Valentine was a frat brother with the Kinko's guy who originally stole the test, and then that was put into Animal House, the movie. So if you're looking for some weird trivia, that's what you get when you read baseball autobiographies. Yeah, anyway, that was kind of cool. But then he started kind of doing like his minor league stuff, and that's where he linked up with Tommy Lasorda. And I ordered, after reading Bobby Valentine's book, I ordered like 3 Tommy Lasorda books because Lasorda was so awesome at least in Bobby Valentine's eyes. So that was fun. But then, like, the only other anecdotes I will share, and then we'll get over to Meet Corazon, Jimmy Campbell. So he played, like, Dominican. He was awesome in the minors. He was, like, the AAA league MVP, was Bobby Valentine. And then he also, interestingly, that was when they had AAA in Hawaii. And he explained how the AAA went there. It was like half San Diego Padres players, and the other half of the team was just like over-the-hill dudes that the owners of the Hawaiian Islanders just paid to show up because, like, we're trying to make money with having people come to the ballpark and watch these games. So they just get over-the-hill guys. Isn't that crazy? They mix and match teams and loan players back then like that.
It's pretty wild.
That's what he did. He ended up in... He was with the Angels. He played for the Pittsburgh farm team because they didn't like him.
I wish MLB teams, I wish their farm teams were, like, based around where their MLB team is.
I wish they had a little more,
You know what I mean?
a few more weird ones where you loaned dudes. They probably still do some of the loaning.
Probably.
I know the NPB did a little bit of loaning of their dudes to some American minor league teams. I don't think they do that anymore, but they did it a while ago.
You could use our guy, sure. Go for it.
Well, this is like Japan doesn't have that big of a minor league system, so maybe that's why they were doing it, to develop guys.
If they develop a minor league system, that sport would be more known, I think, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see the downside.
Because if they had, like, a farm system, it'd be almost like, do I even need to watch MLB anymore?
Yeah.
Because you could get some dudes from America be like, you know what, I don't want to go MLB, I want to go play in Japan.
Yeah.
And they have a minor league system now, so I can go play for one of their minor league teams.
They got those two...
Can Japan teams draft players from America?
There is a way. There's like the international drafts or however they do the...
Yeah.
There's like this kind of like posting system in Japan.
Yeah, I wasn't sure there was...
It's weird. I can't even educate you on it, but yeah, there's something about that. Because there's like... when MLB does the draft, they can't like touch the Cuban guys or the Venezuela guys. There's a separate like international draft. So
Yeah.
Japan's kind of like the same on how they acquire like the American guys, but whatever rules there. But they have those two cool independent leagues. I think they're making a third.
in Japan?
In Japan. The Route In is the one I'm familiar, the Baseball Challenge League, but I think they might be just calling it the Baseball Challenge League now. And then, of course, the Shikoku Island League Plus. What a great name for a league. I like that they put plus on it. Right?
Putting plus on something like always makes it sound more
Plus?
intriguing, right? Like
Yeah.
iPhone 14 Pro Plus.
Exactly. Do you want this,
Or Max, if you put Max on the end of it too.
Max or plus? Like if I was a
Or
mop,
extra, anything like that.
HEB had like a Super Mop or the Super Mop Plus. Which one are you getting?
That plus one.
Exactly. Shikoku
It could literally
Island League
be-
Plus.
It could literally only be a difference of, well, this one comes with an extra cartridge.
Yeah.
Oh shit, dude. Gotta have it. You know.
Yeah, Shikoku Island League Plus. But anyway, that's random. And then what other interesting factoids did I glean? Here's a great story. J.R. Richard of the Houston Astros suffered a stroke, ended his career, but just threw his hard, or like cheddar, like Nolan Ryan. He was fearsome to face J.R. Richard back in those days. And he was playing in the Dominican leagues, Dominican Winter Leagues, and Bobby Valentine was leading off the game. But the Dominican leagues had like kind of issues with electricity, I guess, and they wouldn't turn on the lights until right before the game started. However, their electricity grid was set up. So he digs into the box. J.R. Richard, all 6'4", 260 pounds, reaches back, and it's probably a first pitch fastball. The leadoff guy reached back, gives him the J.R. Richard fastball. As soon as he like releases it, lights go out. Black stadium, and everybody just hits the deck. They're like, oh my gosh, they could have just noggined you.
Yeah, because that was probably before they had safety nets, right?
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, they didn't have safety nets.
Yeah.
That shit was wild. Like if you sat behind home plate or third base or first base, you had to be careful.
Yeah.
You couldn't be on your cell phones like you are now. That's for sure.
It's crazy. The other thing that was it kind of sucked about Bobby Valentine's career because he was one of these guys who got just like a couple bad injuries really messed him up. He got beamed real bad one time in the face, and it was gross. Like everybody on his team was like vomiting when they saw him. And then he had like some Japanese plastic surgeon put his face back together. That was when they were playing the Islanders because there was controversy around his AAA batting title. But I digress. It's a great book. People should get it, as we should get our T-shirts that say I digress.
I made that one. I just got to get it printed.
I got our business cards so we can hand it out. I'll have to show you.
Oh, you got cards? Shit.
Well, so we can, because people always ask and we like can't explain it to them. It's got a little QR code so they can find the YouTube, you know?
Yeah, we gotta bring back the punk element too.
So it doesn't have any of our names on it. It's just got the 3BGB and the QR, so people will be intrigued and can check us out.
Yeah.
But
we'll have to try to. Yeah.
That's what it is. So there you go. I'm saying Phillies because of baseball gods. Thoughts on that, and then Bobby V. Super. I could spend another hour on Bobby V, but I think we need to try to call Jimmy Mi Corazon. We've teased it like 4 times in a row and never called him.
Has he said anything to you? Like,
yeah, I talked to him the other day.
He's like, you keep telling me.
Did he text you? He was like, we were talking about. He was.
No, I every now and then he'll send me something, but like,
yeah,
I don't want to get personal, but like, I feel like people don't really want to engage me as much.
What? Jimmy loves you guys.
Oh, I know that, but like, I don't know. I'm not really an interesting person sometimes.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So, yeah.
Do we want to? We didn't do any bump music into our segments. Do we want to do bump music into the phone call?
Sure.
Tell me what you're feeling.
How many do we choose? How many do we choose?
We got 6, man. We got this one. One of them was the outro. Is it the phone call music there?
I think so.
All right.
It's a nice little like warm-up type thing, right? A little clapping around the fire.
That's it. Let's see if we can figure out. Oh, no, I can't do that one because that's the one I got to have on the. This side's got to be the phone. Yeah.
Well,
that's all right. I'll get it queued up. Jimmy, you're out there. We're going to try to call you, bud.
Coming for you.
Other than that, folks, if you're tuning in, please check out our YouTube channel.
It was weird because, like, so I'm obviously doing the live stream over here. Like, there'd be like 5 people. There was like 5 people on point. It went down to 4. It went back up to 5, and now it's at 2. So maybe people are coming in here and they're like, I can't handle this. It's too great. Like, I don't know what to make of it. And then they leave. But
yeah.
I mean, we do have 3 likes, so that's cool.
That's awesome. We're doing great with our new system, maybe. Then we figured out how to stream and tease it or whatever, you know?
I think that the fact that the tags are MLB and World Series, and that's kind of the hot thing right now.
Yeah. Well, if you're watching, we appreciate you. I'll say you that. We appreciate all our fans, our chosen charity.
I'm happy with one person watching us, so anytime there's more than that, I'm like, that's cool.
Anytime there's more than one, we're winning.
But like a consistent watcher, you know what I'm saying? They don't come in for 5 seconds.
Subscribe, that helps us.
Hey, we're at 62 subscribers.
Yeah, I think that was that Philly guy.
Yeah.
Philly Flyboy.
Once we get to 100, I'll be cool. Be stoked.
We'll just keep rolling. What was I going to say? Mozart Group, chosen charity. Basically, I'm very scared of charities as scams, but that one I actually can vouch for because I was like, holy crap, I know that guy. I served with that guy.
Oh, it's a military thing.
Well, Major Milburn was hilarious, so you kind of remember the funny guys in the unit, and but he's a warrior. He's out there doing some good stuff.
Obviously, every little camp, whatever's got to have at least one funny guy.
You always got to have one comedian, you know?
Because you're out there for obviously a long time. You need something to pass the time and keep you entertained, so you're not feeling all down all the time. I'm sure you feel down quite often, but
sometimes you do. Sometimes it's a melancholy life. I found,
especially being away from
improving
home.
My diet has helped some.
I need to
let's go with a different little bumper music for Jimmy. Let's see what this one is here. That's some country stuff for Jim. That's some Astros.
That's a
Jimmy
song.
Campbell music there.
That's a song for someone who's rolling in. You know,
switch this thing over to cell phone.
That's
I guess.
I don't know the name of that song. But it should be called "Rolling In." Like, here it comes, boy. Fire it up, God damn it.
That's what it is. Let's get old Jimmy Campbell on here. I was texting with him the other day. We're talking. I told him to check out that Zen of Bobby V, man. I went total Bobby V, Bobby Valentine rabbit hole. It's a heck of a book, written well. interesting.
When's your book coming
baseball
out?
lifer.
Life and Times of
We're working on the
Turnstile.
magazine.
Because
That's for sure.
you could write a book about your time in minor league baseball when you played for the Crickets. When you played for the Crickets.
Half a season with the Lubbock Crickets.
I tell people all the time, like technically, Turnstile did play professional baseball.
You know what I can do is I can tease Ruben Felix, who's also a baseball lifer. I found out, he's a big scout, and he's been a major league coach, major leaguer. He's played Mexican leagues. He's done all kinds of stuff. Big baseball guy, but he's up in New Braunfels, and I talked to him yesterday, and he's like, yeah, I'll be at Incarnate Word. And I was like, man, that'd be a great interview, just you talking about baseball, because I got a couple questions about him. I was like, all the guys, because I know he remembers like the De Leon brothers and all these dudes on the Crickets. This is gonna be funny.
That goes way back.
But let's give old Jim a call.
Still haven't got a nickname for him, but
I'm saying Mi Corazon, but get old Jimmy in here.
Call him the big dog.
Jimmy's got baseball thoughts. He can give us some World Series preview. This is how we do our phone guests. If you're out there, DM us. Maybe you can call into the show.
We need to get like a Google like number so they can call that, so they don't get our personal number. But
Yeah, we need like a burner phone or something.
Well, you can just get a Google number, and it's just like there's no ties to your.
It's specifically for podcasting.
No, it's like a number that if you want to give someone but you don't want to give them your real phone, but you still want them to get a hold of you somehow.
Let's see if you can hear it.
Like my wife uses it for college students.
Yeah.
So they don't have a real number, but they need to text her about an assignment or something. They can. It's pretty cool.
All right, I'll have to look into that. I'm getting very tech savvy in my elder years, trying to figure out all this stuff for Skiing River Monsters. Let's see here. Call forwarded. Couldn't get Jimmy.
Probably busy. He's a busy man.
It's one of those things. I think he texted. It's one of those things when you don't plan your podcast, you're just rolling. Nice. He's doing business lunch, so Jimmy might call in.
Involve us in the business lunch.
But we can come back then to let's just figure out what the outro music is, and then we'll show her a couple. Is that the outro?
Yeah.
Think that's the outro?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's that?
Outro.
4?
That's 4. We'll remember that. That's what I got. Japan series. All I got for you is 2-1 Swallows over the Oryx Buffaloes. And here's how that's shaken down. Oryx Buffaloes is a good pitching team. Swallows got Munetaka Murakami, who's jacking bombs. So high offense. But it's the flip side of what we thought here in American baseball, where it's like those San Francisco Giants of 2006 or whatever, like the, when did the Giants win this? Was it 2016? I think it was 2016, 2012, something like that. Pitching will beat hitting in the postseason. It's not turning out that way. Swallows, the hitting team, up on that good pitching Oryx Buffaloes
Which
team.
is weird because, like, defense will always win championships in professional sports.
Yeah.
But I guess that's not the case over there.
Because I think that dude won the triple count in batting, but the Oryx Buffaloes ace, and I'll butcher the name, so I won't do it. You can feel free to Google, but he was the guy that like most wins, best ERA, best Ks, like best pitcher in the league is on the Buffaloes. And I think with the best pitcher, you got to believe we're gonna win at least 2, or you're gonna have them go the 1st, the 4th, and the 7th. So you'll win 3. You're not going to lose, but they lost one of his starts. So that's what it is. That's what's going on in Japan. Maybe Nakatomi will fly you over there again. I played golf with him last Thursday. He is not over the D-Knob Bay Stars elimination. And he usually does drink when he plays golf. I don't know what your personal experience has been with that. But
he's constantly buzzing, if not hammered, every time.
It's that high-dollar scotch.
The only time that he's been sober is when we have the 97 on the Cat meetings. It's because he has to be. Because there's always potential investors, and he wants to be like, I got to be on my best behavior for these investors, but after that I can get drunk.
The guy owns more corporations.
I heard he's trying to get involved with the oil companies.
Than follicles of hair on your head. But, here's the interesting thing about owners and stuff like that came out of the Bobby V book. So the Dominican Winter Leagues used to be just 4 teams. Now I think it's like 6. But I think that would be such a fun trip because he was describing how the games go. As with the Mexican leagues, the games are just a total blast, but there's all this gambling in the stands.
Yeah.
You can gamble on anything. And then the owners will gamble amongst each other. They're gambling beats like this team's owner's gambling with that owner, and you would get like incentivized because they wanted to win the bet. They're like, they would tell you, just so you know, a hit is worth $20 this game. A stolen base is worth $25 this game. A run is worth $50. Like they would have all this stuff to incentivize. There's Jimmy right there. Let's answer that. Jimmy, we're going to pipe you in. If we can do this. Jimmy, can you hear me? No. Is he still there? Did we lose it? I think we lost it.
It's on the right channel.
I don't know. It's on the right.
Oh, I think it's on this side. Right?
No, it should be here.
Oh, I thought it was,
I thought it was 7. Right there. You really have to turn it up high, but I think we lost the call somehow when I went to the thing. I don't know what that was.
Oh, I thought it was on the other side. Oh, you have the phone plugged in, not the exit. Okay.
I don't know. That's weird.
He's going to be like, hey, what happened?
I don't know.
I was there.
We'll be ready for it. We'll just stay like that. But the gambling in the Dominican Winter Leagues look awesome. I really hope that would be the same like in Puerto Rican Winter Leagues, but I don't know. Sounds like a fun trip to take.
To Puerto Rico?
Any Winter League. Like that one. Dominican, Cuban does have winter leagues, of course, but the more well-known ones are going to be your Mexican Winter League, your Venezuelan, your Dominican, and your Puerto Rican. And Colombia does have one too, but then they have like the Caribbean World Series. They all get together and we'll play it out after the Winter Leagues.
Was that the one that they had 2 different leagues that play each other? Right? No?
Which one now?
Is that the one where they have 2 different leagues that play each other?
The Caribbean Series or the...
Yeah. Oh, no. That's a different one?
The Caribbean Series is like, I guess, imagine, if you will, kind of like the MLB playoff structure, AL, NL. You just have like a number of winter leagues, and then they get together for the Caribbean Series. So, gotta get into the winter ball. So much good baseball out there where I can give my dollar to and away from Major League Baseball and their horrid management of the game, their rule changing, their insane things they're doing.
It just sucks that it's not as popular as it once was.
Well, they should be doing everything they can to support. That was another thing. I was trying to get this Ugandan kid who can run through Twitter, but here's one thing I'll say. So this dude, where is Dennis Kusamba? Dennis Kusamba or Kusamba Dennis, depending on how you want to say it. But he's from Uganda. He's like a catcher. Class of 2023, so next year. I'm like, and he's really good at social media, you know?
Oh, yeah, as most young people are these days.
They are, but I don't know how it rolls in Uganda. He seems like the only Ugandan player I'm personally aware of. But that being the case, I was like, man, if somebody like Blinn or I don't know, some JC, somebody just gives him a ride, say, come on over, man. I think people over there will be like, yeah, man, let's play some baseball. Look what happens. Get yourself a ride. Get some of that.
Some of that money.
But I don't know, bud. That's my takes on the postseason. You got any other hot takes you want to roll out there?
On the postseason?
Anything you want to talk about, buddy? It's open mic time now because I can just beat you down over the head with Bobby Valentine anecdotes.
Well, I know this is like not really that interesting, but I was reading this article about like 11 old timey baseball names and like how
there we go.
How terrible modern names are. And so, like,
I'm kind of agreeing with you. I haven't heard a good. What are some? I just can't even think of a good modern nickname.
So I have a top 8 of like old timey nicknames.
Yeah.
And just tell me what you think of these nicknames. So one of them, this guy's name was Bob Ferguson, and his nickname was Death the Flying Things. But like, I feel like these nicknames back then were good.
Is that for real?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. There was another. called Lou Gehrig's nickname was Biscuit Pants, apparently.
Lou Gehrig's name was Biscuit Pants?
Yeah.
This is just like within the team?
No, I don't know if these are real, but they sound real.
Oh.
Because, I mean, I didn't see...
Lou Gehrig's the most legendary dude ever.
Maybe I missed, what is it called?
What website is that? Is that like
11 points.
a joke website or something?
I couldn't tell if it was a joke or not, but now I'm reading it, I'm like, it kind of does. But I don't know.
All right.
I think, okay, I'm going to say these are funny fake nicknames.
These are fake nicknames they made
I'm
up.
assuming now. This one guy's name was Mordecai Brown, and his nickname was Three Finger.
No, that's true.
So then, okay, then these were.
That's true. So
these
Lou
were.
Gehrig was actually somebody called him Biscuit Pants?
Yeah. So I'm sure they all had different nicknames, but these are like nicknames that were like, no one says these kind of things.
Okay.
Number 5 was this guy named George Decker. His nickname was Gentleman. So, I mean, that sounds cool.
Gentleman George Decker?
Now, this guy, I feel bad for this guy. His name was Hugh McCary or something.
Yeah.
His nickname was Losing Pitcher.
It's his losing name.
Some guy named Frank Smith. His nickname was the Piano Mover.
Okay.
Now, this next one is the fucking coolest one. His name was George Kelly. His nickname was High Pockets.
High Pockets? I don't know. It's tough, like, because Frank Thomas was the big hurt.
Yeah.
That maybe at the time, like 50 years later, that's going to sound like the coolest nickname ever.
Yeah, so like,
I don't know.
Plus, it's just based on the language at the time, the way people talk to.
And I think there's also nicknames of dudes on these teams. Just we don't know them.
Biscuit Pants.
Only the players know them.
You always hear the generic ones like, well, if your last name's Rodriguez, it's going to be something Rod.
Yeah.
You know, like, what is it, Julio Rodriguez, J Rod? I don't know if people call him that, but I do.
That'd be a fun research because I bet maybe if we start digging into what are the nicknames.
Yeah.
You know?
That are like only player names that they use in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you couldn't find some because if they don't, you know.
Like Nolan Ryan, Big Tex,
Oh, yeah,
the Ryan Express.
I like the Big Tex nickname. There was a couple other ones on here, but I couldn't get the fucking page to load, so I had to kind of like.
That's good. Another thing showed up in the Bobby Valentine book about Nolan Ryan. So he was on the Angels with him for a couple years. And I don't know if I've ever seen this or noticed this, but if you can ever go back and like look at some Nolan Ryan like games, and I bet this would not be in the broadcast because the way they switch cameras around. Bobby Valentine said before the game would start, as the leadoff batter was like coming up to the plate, Nolan Ryan would go down to home plate and like supposedly be inspecting the turf and the dirt right in front of home. Like kind of like kicking around, looking for an acorn or whatever he was doing. But the only reason he was doing it, Bobby Valentine said, was so he could catch the eye of the leadoff batter and stare him down. So I was like, you don't see pitchers do that anymore, but that was what Ryan did. He would hang out by home plate, act like he was looking at the dirt, wait for that leadoff guy to come up, and then catch his eye and look at him and be like, dude, I'm coming today with the heat. Oh, man, that's great. What a legend.
You got to intimidate people.
Got to intimidate people, and Nolan Ryan did that. So, but, yeah, too many good stories in there, honestly. Oh, man, he came across everybody. But he had a manager. He didn't play for Lasorda at the Dodgers. Lasorda was the minor league manager, and the manager of the Dodgers, Walter Alston, freaking hated him. Called him Billy Valentine. Would never call him by his name. And then he was in elevators. Folks came to see him for a game, and he goes, "Hey, Skip, I want to introduce you to my folks." Walter Alston didn't even turn around, got off at the next floor. So no love lost between Bobby Valentine and Walter Alston. So anyway, that's that's what's going on with Bobby Valentine. Jimmy's at lunch somewhere. I don't think we missed this call, but maybe we did. That's not his number. Jimmy, if you're out there, we love you. We're calling you at lunch because we're not organized.
Since we were talking about like not calling by his real name, do you remember that Jim Rome segment with Jim Everett?
It's classic.
What was it? He's like, my name's Jim Everett, but he was calling him something else.
Call him Chrissy.
Yeah, he goes, if you call me that again, I'm getting up out of here and I'm coming over towards you. And he goes, okay, Chrissy Everett. He got up. And a lot of people said it was like a stage thing, but I don't know. It seemed real to me.
No, he pissed him off. And Rome is...
I used to watch him a lot. Jim Rome was burning that show. I used to watch it a lot.
I got nothing against Rome. When I worked in El Paso, I could get that radio station, or like one of the local radio stations had a show. I listened to it all the time.
But that kind of stuff sells, though. Like,
Well, I'm sure he's probably doing that, but he also has some pretty good sports knowledge, and he gives an entertaining show, and he is remorseful about the Jim Everett thing. He's like, shouldn't have done that. I'm more than that escapade, more than that incident.
That's like how people feel about Jim Rome. People say he says a lot of stupid shit, but he's smart on the stuff he talks about.
On some level, it's entertainment, right?
But he's also like, if you listen to his shit, when he talks about stuff, he gives like or not facts, but evidence, or like what do you call it? Like he does research on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whether or not they're facts or not.
His show is really funny, and he's got like so many loyal listeners.
I listen to him on occasion.
I wish here at 97.9 The Cat we could get the phone situation better, right? Because if we had this like old-timey phone hooked up somehow,
that'd be so cool.
What was that phone thing you could like plug into your computer? There was like a whole thing.
Magic Jack or something?
The Magic Jack.
Yeah.
We need to get a Magic Jack and then just have people call into the show. That would be the funnest show ever.
I can remember when that was like a thing they would put on TV on commercial.
Man.
And I felt like an old person. I almost said, instead of saying commercial, I almost said advertisement. Our advertisement on TV, but I remember that used to be a commercial.
The Magic Jack.
Like, call now, and if you call now the next hour, you get a second one free.
My goodness. We're sponsored by Theraflu today. Let's put that up there with our little Halloween pumpkin. Oh, that was another. Let me just give a little. I'm going to get your opinion on Halloween costumes.
Oh,
and this is, you know how like.
Halloween costumes are great.
This is not.
Obviously.
This is not original thought. Every stand-up comedian's ever had this take. First off, Halloween is just the green light for women to wear the diciest outfit that they can find at the spirit shop. I forget all the dirty names they have for Halloween, but girls are wearing whatever they want.
They have a lot of like really revealing outfits now.
Yes, very much so. And as a me 10 years ago, I very much appreciate the holiday of Halloween. Now it's the parenting again, so you're back into the mode of looking at Halloween from the kids' point of view instead of, all these hot chicks everywhere or whatever. So you're just like, costume shopping. And I don't remember because Liam put on his flippin' Minecraft thing, and I was like, this kid can't see shit. It's
he
blocking
told you?
his. Well, no, I go, can you see me? Because I can see his eyes through the holes, but it's like the bridge of the nose is so wide. I was like, dude, he can't. And he's gonna be like walking around all night long trying to get candy and not be able to see a thing. But
I could see Daddy.
I was a ghost when I was a kid, and that was a horrible night traipsing around in that thing. You couldn't see a doggone thing. So choose your outfit wisely.
Samantha just chimed in. She said, sometimes I just want to be a killer, though.
Yeah.
Dress up as a killer.
I mean, do that. Make sure you have good visibility. I'm just saying. That's what I'm
Also, I know, too, dude, like a lot of times now, like companies will make shitty products, but they'll slap like a famous villain on it or a killer and like market and they'll sell.
Yeah.
Like this is plastic that I can make myself.
Yeah.
But $20.
Yeah, the spirit shop.
Get out of here.
I don't know if the thing to do at the spirit shop, because we got some stuff there, and I was like, when do you guys close? Like Halloween, day before Halloween? They're like, no, we're open for like a couple days after, but then it's like all cut rate.
Oh,
so
dude, it's got to be busy
go get
as
your
fuck
stuff
at
the
that
day
point.
after the spirit shop. Get all the cut rate,
You know how busy that place is going to be, though? Fucking people everywhere.
Oh, man, Elle loves Halloween, so we're good.
Halloween's the best.
Free candy. We got candy left over from flipping Easter, so what you gonna do?
Easter.
But so there's your baseball takes for today. I got nothing else other than really just I spent a lot of time researching how am I gonna get down to some winter league stuff. Monterey's still on the table because they're in the MLP or the LMP. I'm sorry, Liga Mexicana Pacifica. So you gonna make the drive with me? I think that's safe.
I thought we were taking a private jet.
Nakatomi, I don't think is taking us to Monterey. But he does have some manufacturing plants over there by Saltillo.
So I'm
Isn't he own one
saying,
of those
like,
like auto manufacturers in Saltillo, Santa Pedro's?
I think if we convinced him that he could use his chance as a business trip, he would probably go with us.
Somebody needs to look and figure out if Henry Urrutia hit 400 this year for Saltillo. Is the Saltillo super fan? You need to tell me, like, that dude, I think, was a 400 hitter this year.
I wouldn't say I'm a super fan.
He's huge. He's huge. Well, once you get their stuff, you got to make the commitment.
Well,
but yep, Phillies in 7. That's my prediction.
like I said,
baseball gods said so.
I want the Phillies to win, but I feel like they're going to lose in 5, and Astros are going to win 4-1, and somehow the Phillies will get 1 at home.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
I hope I'm like
analytically,
100% wrong.
I have the exact same vibe. I just
Yeah.
feel like the Astros are going to dominate analytically, but gambling me, karmic me, Phillies in 7.
Because if you hit on that, because I know the Astros are obviously favored in the series.
Oh, I'll pay more if I gamble. If
Yeah.
I get the Phillies, $100 pays like $150.
I think some famous Houston dude, I forgot his name.
Oh, Mattress Mac.
Yeah, if he wins, I think it's like $75 million. If he wins, I think he placed money on that.
That's the biggest bet ever.
I don't know who the guy is. I just know every year he places money on the Astros, and
Yeah, I forget exactly how it is, but Mattress Mac's whole deal is he gives some kind of huge discount at his stores.
oh, if they win the World Series,
And if they win the World Series, then you get the bonus. So it kind of pays for itself.
bonus.
Pays for itself because if he wins the bet, then he has all the money to pay all the people the discount on the, ottoman and couch set they bought.
Isn't that how he became like famous? Because he won some money betting on them or something.
Well, I think that his bets just got bigger and bigger because his furniture business got more and more successful. So he could kind of do this like wager to offset his little discounts at the furniture store. But the Mattress Mac story, from what I've heard, is kind of interesting because he started from nothing. Like he sold furniture, secondhand furniture, like under a freeway underpass or something. Like he didn't even have a store. So
Damn.
he kind of rags to riches dudes, kind of supporting that, But what's our time hack, buddy? How long we been? How long we been doing?
Like I would say, according to, because I have to look at the YouTube.
Yeah.
According to the YouTube, it's been about an hour and 45 minutes.
That's a ton for us. Let's do some bumper music. What was the first one? Was that the Gator? Do we use the Gator?
I don't remember to be. I think we opened with the Gator, right? Because it was like the throwback one.
All right, this is a good one.
This is
We'll
like
just-
a trucking song right here.
We'll just chill right there for a minute.
American
And just
Steel.
if anybody ever gets this far in the show, man, subscribe, like. That helps Dutch and myself. Try to keep this process rolling. Here's the other thing I'll tease for you. If you want to get down with some baseball, this time of year these are all the fall ball. This is all fall ball at UTSA and these colleges. They're all playing tons of fall ball. Go to the bird bath. Check out any of those games. Oh, and Mission's watch party for the World Series November 1st. What do you think of that?
The win?
It's out in Nelson Wolf Stadium November 1st.
What day is that?
It's a Tuesday.
I have class that day, but depending on what time it is, I might be able to make it.
It's like in the evening.
No, I don't have class in the evening on Tuesdays.
If you can get out there, get some hot dogs, watch them World Series baseball. Should be pretty good. Talk to the Missions about getting the old Seguin River Monsters a date out there at Nelson Wolf. Wouldn't that be nice?
I think we can convince them.
I think we can. I don't know if
check
Mike
this
G's
out.
back from New York, but we can get Mike G out there.
Be like, check this out. You'll
Yeah.
draw a crowd. But shout out to Sloppy Thurston,
Sloppy Thurston,
Good old
greatest nickname ever.
Nebraska native. What's up?
Mordecai Three Finger Brown. That guy was apparently nasty pitcher. I think I might have won a Cy Young.
Was that
guy.
like his thing, like a 3-finger pitch or something? Or-
No, it's like there's pictures of his hand. He had like some kind of like farming, back in them 1900s. They had those like farming accidents or whatever, and
Baseball was wild back then.
he had a weird like notch kind of where this finger should be, and I don't know if that made him put more grip on it, but he had big hands anyway, so he was Mordecai Three Finger Brown was apparently nasty to face.
You know what? I kept my cool today. I didn't go off on the Astros. I didn't be unprofessional. I
Yeah.
kept my cool. as much as I wanted to.
As much as you wanted to, you just don't like those doggone Astros.
I want to.
Is it the cheating thing, or is it just all through the years?
So like, I wasn't a fan before the cheating thing. I didn't really care.
Yeah.
But once they cheated, that kind of just like, yeah, now I don't like this team.
I mean, that was a bad.
Like before the cheating thing, I didn't like them, but I didn't have like a strong hate. I was like, oh, whatever.
It was a bad look. Obviously, I'm not a fan of the cheating thing, but on those dudes, I guess it's kind of like was the Altuve, Springer, Bregman factor. I don't know exactly who cheated. I don't know who cheated. I just don't know who cheated, and I was like, I just think that those guys are good baseball players. Like Altuve came from nothing in Venezuela, nothing.
But to me, like, okay, yeah, but he still fucking cheated. So who
did
cares?
he though? Like that's why everybody's
he cheated for
dumping.
sure.
Everybody's dumping on John Boy because they're like, dude, you created this narrative. It's not even true. Altuve wasn't one of the guys.
He was.
Do we know that?
In my personal opinion.
Oh, your personal opinion. All right, well,
I'm not saying these are facts.
Yeah.
These are based off my opinions.
I mean, they were cheating. I'm just not sure. I'd have to go back and really dig into it to see when the everything was getting banged on. Were they getting banged on for Altuve at bats, or do we know? I don't know.
Buzzer, trash cans. The trash.
It'll never die. I don't really have the same sort of animosity towards the Stros as many.
I want to get a shirt that says "Fuck the Astros," but
man, you're just in Texas throwing gas bombs.
I tend to have a habit of like overdoing my opinions and aggressively forcing them out there.
You know what we're trying to do? We're trying to cut a video, and we want to wish a nice happy birthday to James Christopher and the Let's Get To podcast, because he's been doing what we're doing for 5 years, and he's actually successful at it. But, man, that guy's the biggest Astros fan ever.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I think some of his...
Not that you have to be an Astros fan. You're well within your rights, sir. Well within your baseball rights, man.
Root for who I want to?
Yeah, do whatever you want, man. You're from the Metroplex anyway, so it makes sense to me that you be the Rangers fan. But you got on board with the Rays, then, and you know what your mantle needs to be.
What's that?
Make them the Devil Rays again,
dude. No, yes, that's been a thing.
That's when that's when you get the World Championship. Bring the Devil back in.
I mean, the culture is badass. The colors are cool, and the way they run a team is great.
People will be like, it's the Devil. Like, no, dude, it's a fish. Just to see if people can mentally get over the fact.
One of the things I think
that it's not satanic.
Was a family thing. Yeah, they wanted to sound more family friendly, which, okay.
You got exactly 0 more people going to the game because you changed it.
Nobody goes to the games in Tampa. Like Longoria, that was his thing when he was there, and it makes no sense. Like people will show up to the playoffs and oh, go Rays. Like, dude, no, you weren't there at all season. Get out of there. And
are they going to move him? Has there ever been as a Rays fan this horrible attendance that they have to deal with? Is that a factor? Are they talking about moving the Rays?
There's been talks. I know at one point, I think it was like last year or beginning of this year, they were trying to like play some of the home games in Montreal.
Oh, that'd be so sweet.
But Montreal was like, yeah, no, we don't want you here.
Really? Yeah, it's the same thing as like the Sonics Oklahoma City Thunder pain.
Yeah.
Like if the Thunder came back and played like 5 games in Seattle, that would just piss everybody off more.
Because they know that it's not here to stay.
That's our team that got stolen. And so like if you're a Spos fan, nothing's going to be right. Or a Sonics fan, like nothing's going to be right until you get them back.
Like what they should have done is when the Pelicans started to play in Oklahoma City because of the hurricane there, they should have moved to Oklahoma City. Not the Sonics. Dude, the Sonics were like, that's a legendary great franchise.
Yeah.
So what? And then they was just like, one day it was gone. And I'm not from Seattle. I've never been there. I don't have any ties to the Sonics, but it was a great, especially in the 90s, dude, legendary team.
It's a great franchise. Well, we've teased it long enough. I think we can only hold on so long. I don't have any idea what Jimmy's plans are. We didn't plan it out very well. We got a late start today, but this was our first successful. I mean, we figured out this sort of, what is it? This YouTube tease thing where you like let people know what's happening.
Yeah, and, it's like an upcoming event.
And then somehow YouTube will help people know that it's live. I don't know. We just need the Magic Jack, and we can take callers who can berate us. That would be phenomenal.
If you own a landline,
phenomenal content, honestly.
My grandma still has a landline.
Yeah, get a landline, get a Magic Jack. Audition still running.
I think
potentially cooking with oil this morning. Cooking with gas. What's the saying?
Cooking with gas.
Cooking
you
with
could
gas.
say oil. I guess you could cook with oil. Olive oil or something.
Cooking with gas. I don't even know sayings anymore.
Cooking with that. Just as long as it ain't propane, dude, because propane is whack.
Please check out the Deadly Addiction video.
It's our greatest masterpiece we've ever produced.
You know what I'm working on right now as we speak for the next production? So San Antonio Film Commission, all the location agreement that we can shoot a lot of places in the city for free, but I have to have a certificate of insurance that you submit with your location request. So, which makes sense. All the cities do it. So I'm digging up the same insurance company that insured us for the longest home run or the longest batted baseball on earth project, because that was an awesome insurance company. Sadler Co. I'll plug those guys all flipping day. If you need insurance for an event or film or something, Sadler Co.
They just cover
sports insurance.
They cover your equipment and stuff, or they cover.
No, but it's more of a check. It's not supposed to be like outrageous like your auto insurance all year. It's just like you have to get some kind of coverage, even if there's like a low chance of something happening.
So since you with the van and the window that broke.
Yeah, I'm paid for that out of pocket already. I got to make a claim with Expedia, but I'm putting that in the magazine. So. Putting the picture of the dent.
That was wild. I seen it happen too. I was like, oh shit.
I called it. I called the shot. I go, that's the car. That's the van. As soon as he hit it, I knew.
The one with the bat too. Remember when the bat swung out of his hand?
Oh, I didn't see that. I didn't actually see that happen, but we got some good
the
videos.
Bat swung out. So someone in the fan that was sitting in the fans were like, how the hell does that happen? You've never swung a bat and it slipped out of your hands?
Yeah.
Like, that's never happened to you? Okay, bullshit. Happens all the time. It happened to me at the batting cage. The bat flew right out of my head.
We got to get back to the batting cages, buddy.
I bought a helmet, too.
Are we doing, we can start doing their outro music. Are we going to do some barbecue station today, buddy? I'm starving. I don't eat anything.
It's up to you. I feel like that's always my answer when someone asks, like, what do you want to eat? I'm like, it's up to you. I don't really care.
All right. What do we decide? Nope. This is the outro right here.
No, that was a different. I thought it was 2 or 3. I think it was like 2.
Oh, over there?
Yeah, remember?
I think that is outro?
No. Was it 3? I can't remember now. There we go. That's a nice little
outro. Okay.
It's a little closer out.
Hit the road. Wander off into the sunset. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. This is episode number 26 of 3BGB. We've made our picks with our knowledge. And for those people that aren't accounting for baseball gods, you need to, because that can
like I said, I would
play a factor.
So stoked if the Phillies
appreciate any viewers or subscribers or likes or any of that jazz, because we're just some baseball fans, some music fans, and just all around good hardworking Americans trying to get it done. To you, Dutch Chattahoochee, I tip my cap.
Appreciate that, sir.
You riding a horse out in the sunset on this one? I feel like I got a lasso.
No, I'm just walking away.
I'm just walking away?
The town took my horse, and I didn't have enough money to pay the ransom.
You know the westerns where they drag the dude? I got the horse, and I've tied you up, and I'm dragging you out of town?
I'm like just sitting inside of a saloon. My days are coming to an end here being an outlaw. I realize I had to be a law-abiding citizen now.
You've got an eye for the scene.
Sure, I'm going to be called a sellout and, all that, but the thing is, sometimes your days of outlawing are coming to an end, and I realize that now, so now I'm just sitting at the bar, jaded, smoking my cigarette, taking my 5-cent shot of whiskey, going to settle down.
Got an eye for a scene. You're a writer at heart, man. You're a script writer, screenwriter at heart.
I did, I wrote a script. Technically, it was for a short 10-minute film, but it was a script nonetheless.
Probably awesome.
It was about a stoner dude.
Oh, man.
I mean, yeah.
Well, thanks for coming in today. I think we cut ourselves a decent show. Our analytics look good, considering the first time we've done it like this.
Based off this, YouTube analytics says successful show. Yes.
I don't know how it works. We normally have like 4 people after the first day, so something we did a little bit better, but hopefully people enjoyed it, and we thank you. What's wild, bud?
I watch a fair amount of, like, when I'm playing a game I'll watch like a live stream of someone playing just to see if I need help. And dude, you'll see like 2,000-3,000 people watching, 5,000 people. I'm like, what the hell, dude? This is wild.
I don't know how they do that.
Like,
we start at 0, which we've done plenty of.
You know what?
And then you get to 1.
We have.
And you get to 2, and we're at 3.
Like I said earlier, I get stoked if
Mucking 3.
One person is watching us.
I hope they like baseball. I hope they enjoy the World Series. I hope they have a good day. And your wife, thank you for supporting us always. What about your aunt? She checking in anymore?
I don't know. She's going through some stuff, so I don't. Probably not.
I hope she's okay. All right, buddy. That's it. We'll just wrap it there. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to end the stream, folks. Yep.
Shout out to Jimmy Campbell, JC.
Jimmy Campbell, sorry for interrupting your lunch. That's how we do it here.
He's going to interrupt you during your lunch, and you're going to flip the fuck out.
We'll be on there.
I'm scared.
Barbecue station.
Oh, yeah. I told my wife about, I was talking to Samantha one day. I was like, hey, I kind of want to take you to Pinkerton's just to, like.
No.
Hold on now. Listen. I was like, just so you can, like, try it and make your own judgment. She's like, based off what you told me the price, I'm really not interested.
Pinkerton's Barbecue in San Antonio, Texas. I'm pro San Antonio in many, many ways, but you are out of your mother mucking mind.
I will say this
on your prices.
If you
out of your mucking mind.
If you go there every now and then with some friends, whatever, but if you generally think that that's good barbecue, I don't know who you are as a person, and I don't want to associate myself with you.
It's a C on a letter grading scale.
Yeah.
It's a C, and you're going to charge that much.
Also,
out your mind.
Can I also say this too
out
about
your
Pinkerton's?
mind?
Their house sauce is not that impressive. It's kind of weak.
Location is 5 out of 5 stars, A+.
Oh yeah,
but that
right
doesn't mean I got to spend $50 for lunch on a C barbecue.
Because I remember, like, you didn't even realize it at first. I was like, dude, this shit's expensive, really? And you pull out your receipt, you're like, what the hell? And it was so great because we were leaving, and I was talking to you, and I was like, look, dude, I don't know how you felt. I don't want to be rude, but that place kind of sucked. And you're like, oh, I completely agree.
That place was a kick in the nuts. I'd rather you just stick me in the back with like a plastic shiv in an alley, snap it off, take my wallet, grab $30 out there, and then punch me in the face and run off. Then go to that place.
Pinkerton's, where I mean is okay, and our house sauce sucks ass.
Where we're here to rob you under the guise of giving you lunch.
Then got away. Come on, but yeah.
All right. Let's both digress ourselves and wish our viewers well.
And happy Halloween.
And happy Halloween, folks. Until next time, please check us out on YouTube.
And
or
Monday
Spotify.
is my wife's and our wedding anniversary, too.
Oh, man. Happy anniversary, buddy.
On Halloween.
You guys are the best.
So, 8 years of being married. We got married in 2014. So
that's really good, buddy. Yeah. I never made it that far.
Well.
I'm on marriage number 2. We're trying to make it work.
Maybe we'll make it for 8 years.
Hard work. All right, brother.
Hit the old
Till next time, out we go. Fade that down. End that stream. Turn off.